you're second. You got P1. What happened there?
Yeah, well, I thought I was on P2 in their qualifying session, so I don't know what they've done.
Well, there you go. You've got one. So how are you feeling with getting pole?
Oh, yeah, pretty happy really, mate, but depends who starts in the other car, I suppose.
Well, we'll go find out. And so what's your plan for the day? Just sort of run till fuel or see what happens?
Yeah, try to get through about an hour 10, then put the Rockstar in the car and let them go.
Sure, so we'll have a fun day. And I think I paid for that dinner you gave me by pushing the car just then.
Yeah, I think you did, mate. I think you might have eaten more than that. You definitely had more Heinekens.
All right, well, hopefully we see you sort of midpoint of the race. Thanks. All right, we'll try and find the P2 car. So P2's coming out now. How you doing? So you've had a pretty good qualifying, first time out for this car. How you feeling?
I'm having a bloody ball. It's so good to be driving again. I know everyone's feeling the same. It's been a crappy year, but we're here doing it. We might not be able to have any family and friends here, but yeah, I'm just having a great time, mate. It's good to be back.
So obviously you've tested the car, but you must be pretty pleased with the grid position you got there in P4 for first time out.
Yeah, it's better than I expected. We've had minimal testing with some issues with the car. Thankfully, mechanically, we've got it running well now. We're having no gremlins, touch wood. But the lap time was a surprise. I didn't really do any laps yesterday. I had no laps on the dash during quali either, so I was kind of just hitting it and hoping. And when the boys said we did a low 4, I was like, you're bloody joking. So yeah, mate, we've got no expectations for this race. We just want to stroke it around and try and finish because it's a new car, and if we can get a result, we'll be happy.
And so for people that don't know, really quickly tell us what this car it is. It's pretty special.
Well, yeah, she's a bit of a bitzer. It's got an LS7, it's obviously got an Audi body. The car started as a hail damaged road car, Audi A6. They've kind of transplanted a part V8 supercar, part Super Tourer, part GT car. So yeah, and that's why it's taking us time to develop. There's no blueprint we're working from. We're we're having to start from scratch, but it's going good.
All right, we'll let you get ready for the race. Thanks, mate. We'll see if we can get that. So talk us through your day so far.
Well, we had a very good qualifying session this morning, starting on the first row. Obviously, we have to be happy with that, and now really, really excited for the race. It's a long race, 3 hours is a long race, and anything can happen, but I'm feeling confident.
So your second race in New Zealand, Alex. Tell us how this compares to what you've done before.
Well, to be honest with you, so far I think New Zealand motorsport is just awesome. It's very focused into pure racing. People are just very big fans of the sport. Just they want to come here and enjoy the races, and I think that's the best way to approach it. So I'm very happy.
All right, well have a good race, and we hear the horns going off now, so we better clear off. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Good skills, Adam Jones cruising along the pit lane along with Joe to give you that insight from the driver's seat as they line up for a slightly smaller field than the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series 1 hour race. This is the dedicated pure petrol heads, seat time, lap time, corner by corner, lap by lap, and hopefully we'll be able to take you on board with the diesel BMW, the 150, to see what it's like to actually do an enduro, to put you in the hot seat. Stu, you know what it's like. There it is. That's the view from the driver's point of view. And right now they're just trying to get their breathing right so they're not fogging up. You can imagine wearing a mask, right? We've all got used to wearing masks. When you put a helmet on, and at least you got a bit of a hole to be able to breathe through, but it's all those little adjustments that, are sort of out of your comfort zone. In many
Yeah,
ways,
it
aren't they?
is. Yep, you actually sound like Darth Vader breathing too, because you got your helmet on, your full face helmet, and you can hear every breath. But of course, as soon as you get going, all that just disappears. You can hear your heart thumping in your chest.
You can hear your thoughts,
Yeah.
because your brain is racing before you go racing.
Yep. It's quite amazing. There's such a relief once you get rolling. So right now, the heart rates are really up. The adrenaline's up because you can't do anything. You're sitting there, you're waiting. All these scenarios going through your head. But once you're rolling, then you're doing something. You can be active and you can participate.
Well, if you're a top sports person, the great thing is you do training. You go to train, you practice your kick, you practice your goal kick, you practice your bowl, you practice your bat, whatever. These guys practice lap after lap. But once you get into the battle, once the game kicks off, once the red light goes out and the green flag goes, everything becomes instinctive.
Yeah.
And you instinctively react to the situation you're in, and that's where you practice. And better practice makes for better racing, doesn't it?
That's exactly right. And sometimes you've just got to tell yourself, calm down. You can do it. You can do better than this because you practice this. You know what to do. You know where to look. You know where to brake. All those things. Stop being an idiot and overdriving it.
And then once you put your foot down, it's just instinctive and reactive, and you just start doing it.
Yeah. Look, everybody says they've got a plan for the first few corners, but those go straight out the window as soon as you get rolling because somebody will move around or somebody will jump in front of you. So it is exactly what you said. It's instinctive. You just got to dive down somewhere or let someone go through, whatever, and the whole plan changes in an instant.
What is the plan, though? Because normally we've just seen a 12-lap sprint race with the 86ers, a 14-lap championship decided with the V8 Utes. So therefore it's about get to that first corner, get into a good spot, get around that first lap, get into a rhythm, settle down. This is a 3-hour race, so
Yeah.
that's different.
Absolutely, and a lot of the time, you've got to it's easy to let a guy go past or a woman go past rather than pressure you into a mistake or nudge you into the fence. So you've really got to be thinking all the big picture rather than just the next few corners. So that's really important for these guys.
And when you get a fantastic display of high-powered machinery like this, a McLaren, a Vantage, Aston Martin, you've got an Audi, you've got two Audis right behind them, then you've got Lance Hughes starting in a V8, a Porsche, you've got another cool car as well.
TCR car there.
And the TCR Hyundai. And ironically, Craig Guinness was saying that is really surprisingly quick in a
Yes.
straight line compared to the Ferrari that he was driving last year.
Well, that's the thing. They are so sophisticated. This is one of the latest of the TCR cars. Oh, look at that. The windscreen wipers are on there, Clint. A little shower of rain coming through that we've been having all day.
That'll make the old breathing heavy in the helmet.
Yeah, out there on slicks, it certainly will. It's a
that-
scary moment when you see that when you've got slicks on. But hopefully it'll just be like all the others, just a light sprinkle going through and it shouldn't really affect. Although at the moment, of course, they haven't got any heat in the tyres much.
So it's all part of racing in a COVID-controlled way. It's been a year of uncertainty, a year of unknown, and all of a sudden, as you're getting to the start of the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series 3-hour race, a bit more uncertainty and a bit more unknown with the rain starting to come through.
Yeah. This is where, look at that front row. 3 manufactured race cars from manufacturers and a home-built Audi in there with a Chevy motor in it. Isn't that great to see?
The Bitzer.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful though? So here we go, they're rolling around, there'll be a bit of jockeying for position. The Aston's just dropping back and holding back there, trying to get the McLaren to slow down a bit.
Glenn
Probably
Smith, Johnny DeVeth, the defending champions, they won it last year, that beautiful McLaren. But of course you've got the Vantage, Aston Martin, the Aston Martin outside with the Spanish driver Alex Rivera out of International Motorsport in the heart of racing. Followed by, of course, you've got a whole stack of Audis ready to pounce. Oh, look
There
at
they
John
go.
Lester, the local boy from Karaka, just pulling it out and trying to gang crash his way through that first corner.
Fantastic jump by the Aston. Look at that. He was hanging back. Somehow he managed to psych out the McLaren there. Well done. There's a bit of international experience for you. But like I tell you what, that is no sprinkle of rain, is it? That's quite a heavy shower coming through there. It's going to be interesting.
So
Look at them
very
moving
interesting.
around.
There's the Aston Martin. It's a V8 twin turbo, pumping out about 600 horsepower compared to that beautiful McLaren as they duck down the hairpin again for the first time, and clean and smooth. Todd Borden with the online BMW. Look at the front of that big hybrid Audi, the John O'Lester.
He's dropped a spot there, actually. I reckon he probably got a bit too much wheel spin there.
Yeah.
I think possibly because of that little bit of rain. But
He might have out-muscled himself.
yeah, but look at the little TCR car, the Hyundai up there. There it is now going through your shot. That's incredible to see that up there, out of position essentially, isn't it? It's way up past where it should be for a TCR car.
So coming round to the start of the end of the first lap, opening lap of the 3-hour race. We've got to settle down into a rhythm. They've all managed to be smooth and fast. So it's the Aston Martin Vantage out in front of Alex Rivera. A bit of smoke from one of the cars.
A little wriggle there. Look at that. These
Lance
guys are all
Hughes.
sliding wide. It just shows it's not the grip that they thought they were going to get there.
Andrew Fawcett at number 10 in the Audi.
Lance Hughes just missed that apex enormously once again. He didn't turn in like he thought it would.
It's
He's
slippery out
struggling.
there, isn't it?
Oh, look at that through the gravel there. Man, it just shows you that's a greasy spot. That's turn 3 there, which is really tricky because it crests and you lose weight on the front tyres. So scary times.
He's just struggling for grip too at the moment, isn't it? It's greasy.
Oh, the Audi TT is turned around.
Shane Helms, the sponsor from Golden Homes and Race Lab with that beautiful Audi TT, the Tourenwagen.
Quite a tricky little car in those conditions. They're short wheelbase, and even though they're brilliantly balanced, they're actually front-engined. They're like I suppose a golf version, of, like a coupe golf, but tricky once they start to go at the back. They're very hard to catch.
So your lap times have really come down to around about the 119s, 120 mark. So the smart drivers are just going to try and settle into a wet race pace here and make no mistakes and just try and keep it under control.
Yeah, at the front they're about sort of 5-6 seconds off their potential pace in the dry. Look at the Audi here. He's Jono's starting to make up for that poor start he had, or that position he lost at the start anyway. He's made that apex nicely. Just going to try and avoid any contact there. Oh, little nudge from behind there. Just hurry. Oh!
He's turned him around, Jono.
Wow, that could be trouble for Jono there.
Oh, too excited, the man from just down the road at Kareka.
Yeah.
He wanted to go racing and he's given old Lance a bit of an escort onto the grass. Both with Chevy motors, quite ironic. One with the Chevy in the hole and the other one's with a Chevy in the Audi.
He'll be thinking, uh-oh, he'll be waiting now to hear the radio call, see what trouble he's going to be in. Maybe nothing, we'll see what happens. There's that TCR car followed through, the little Aston Martin Vantage behind him. That's also going incredibly well in these conditions. It's Greg Brink drive.
So the field well and truly spread out. Andrew Fawcett in the number 10 Audi, just trying to nurse that car in front of the 51 Connell Dempsey Porsche.
Nobody really likes these conditions, do they? Because
it's half of this and half of that.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
neither dry nor wet.
Dead right.
And it's just like that slippy stuff you get sometimes on your main road, and you've just got to slow down.
Yeah, it's greasy but not wet, so it's one of those situations that it'll change lap by lap. And you really don't know every time you put your foot on the brake what's going to happen. Now the GT3 cars have all got ABS and traction control, so you just push as hard as you like on that brake. In fact, that's a way of testing to see how much grip you've got. You go bang on the brakes and see when the ABS cuts in, and that gives you a good idea of the grip you've got to play with when you turn into the corner. But a lot of these cars further back don't have any ABS at all, so that's a lot tricky for them. You get those big lockups, and that's very, very frightening.
Andrew Fawcett going down the dipper in the Audi, followed by Connell Dempsey. And then Craig Guinness coming through in that beautiful Audi TCR car. See all the wings, see the aero. He said that part there gives it so much straight line speed because the wind just goes straight through that aero package. And even though it be down on horsepower compared to, say, like that Aston Martin and then Lance Hughes, and even the Aston Martin with being shared by Greg Brink and Aaron Slight, it's the aero package of that i30 Hyundai TCR car that gives it that straight line speed.
Well, look, that's right. It's only a 2-litre turbo, 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo. So it's probably, I don't know, I'm guessing a wee bit around 300 horsepower, 350, something like that. So not big horsepower. But yeah, that car actually comes. It's the only brake. So, of course, with TCRs, you can get Hondas and Alphas and a whole range of manufacturers you can buy. That's the only one that comes with a manual that specifically tells you how to set the car up. So it says if you put a bit of wing angle on the back, for example, then you need to compensate at the front with the springs, with the rear of the springs. All these sorts of things you can adjust, but it tells you exactly how to compensate.
So why would that? So if you change the angle of the rear wing, you'll upset the actual
Yes.
the turning and the grip of the front tyres.
Exactly. So in other words, you're loading the rear, so that means you're lifting a bit of weight off the front. So for example, they were saying when they first got it here, the wing was almost flat, and going into turn 1, as it turned, so it got turn and oversteer. So it was very light, it felt very shaky on turn.
Let's go on board now with 635. This is Glenn Chappell. It's the BMW 150D diesel, and you're in the hot seat in the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series, the 3-hour race. This is the camera just sort of looking virtually from the front part of the dash there.
A little bit hard to tell where that is, isn't it? But that's an interesting car, as you say. It's a diesel, but that was built for the Nürburgring 24-hour race, and there's a diesel class there. So, and it won its class, and now it's here in New Zealand. Originally a twin turbo, so that's how the road cars run with twin turbos. So you have one small turbo to spool up when you first get on the gas, and the big turbo to give you the grunt at the top. They've converted that to a single turbo. So, of course, when you're racing, you've mainly got big revs, although diesels don't rev that high, of course, and you don't need that little twin turbo. So they weren't even sure how that's going to go, but it seems to be going very well. They're running along nicely.
635, Glenn Chappell currently in the top 10 and doing some pretty handy times as well. So they'll be no doubt trying to track each other's times.
And there's that TCR car. Look at them hounding that big horsepower Commodore. So we've seen a drive-through sign up, and I guess we know who that'll be. Probably John O'Lester.
John O'Lester.
Looks like we can see him in the pits. I just caught a glimpse of a silver car heading into the pits there now.
Yes, that'll be a classic example of contact tracing motorsport style, because you got too close to the car in front and you turn them around, so you'll have to come in and do a bit of physical distancing for one lap.
Yeah, well, we were assuming that a wee bit until we could just see behind the fence. There he goes. Yes, so he's lost a lot of space there. He'll be kicking himself.
A bit like Steph Chambers, who got turned around by the Mazda in the 1 hour race, and she was really disappointed because she was just settling down into a nice rhythm.
Yep.
And thought that that move didn't have to be done.
But look, let's face it, it's good for us. They're going to see.
It's motor racing.
Well, and it's also, we're going to see what Jono can get out of this car. I mean, the Dovies will be disappointed. I mean, they wanted to be up in the top 3 or 4. But look, it's a 3-hour race. There's still a long way to go yet. But we'll see what sort of lap times he can carve out.
103.3. Alex Rivera of the beautiful Aston Martin Vantage that was fresh from a win in the South Island Endurance Series down there at Teretonga. So they've just kept that race pace up. They had a bit of a technical problem, but the team from International Motorsports sorted that out the other day. Very cool, calm, collected. The Spanish guy loves his motor racing, the Thor of racing. That's the heart of racing, as in Thor. And they raised money for the Children's Hospital in Seattle, and now they're raising money for Starship just by racing here, which is fantastic. And a fantastic cool car, GT3 car.
There's our little diesel. You see that puff of black smoke being blown out there. And here comes our leader in the Aston. So obviously if he's doing 103s, Clint, it's fairly dry now. Obviously that was just a little passing shower. And he's back. He can probably go a little bit quicker than that, but in fact he's just in a 102. He just set the fastest lap of the race. So it's obviously drying out. He's getting a bit of confidence now.
Getting into his race pace and his rhythm. Out of Spain via the UK and doing a superb job here. Beautiful looking car. Look at the grip and the ride and the handling it's got there.
Just went past Rob Williams in the Porsche there from Hawke's Bay. So Rob's done a fair bit of this sort of thing. So, but that's a standard cup car, different category altogether to the Aston Martin's going past him there. The old
Brink's got it's more of a GT4, isn't it?
Yeah, so GT4 will catch up. We'll follow that GT4 around a bit later on. But yeah, GT4 is much closer to road car. So GT4 is another international category, and those are designed to be cheaper. So that Mustang you see just coming into shot now.
Bernard Varight.
Yeah, that's very close to a GT4. GT4 Mustangs are popular in America. That's what I race over there. And GT4 Astons, they make a GT4 Porsche Cayman. There's a whole variety of GT4s. The idea is they're supposed to be a lot cheaper to run than a GT3, which is next level up. A lot less mechanical stuff to replace all the time. A little bit slower, they're more like a road car. They have a road car gearbox, standard engine, all that sort of thing. Racing's just as close.
Good racing room there, and a lot of respect because it's a long race. There's no need to try and block a faster driver. This guy here will get out of the way as well.
Well, that doesn't look happy, that little Honda, does it? That's a lot of smoke coming out there. I can't imagine that lasting 3 hours. See it puffing out. That wasn't like that during practice and qualifying. So I'm sure they're not happy about that. But the thing about the Hondas is they normally just keep, they're like little watches, Swiss watches, aren't they? They just keep ticking along.
International Motorsport are doing a superb job. They did a great job with obviously Johnny Reed and Neil Foster last year. They're not here. So the mechanical black flag.
Yes, and I'm wondering if that's probably for the little Honda, I would say. When you're blowing that much smoke, they worry that there's oil being put on the track. So, but
Glenn Smith just cruising around in the number 1 McLaren 650S.
Yeah, so obviously everybody's settling into those paces now. It's obviously dry enough now to get down to those race paces. So we're going to see that car later on is Chris Vanderdrift's ride for the day, and they'll do a stop. Now the interesting thing about all these GT3 cars, it's a 4-litre V8 twin turbo, but the thing is most of them can't do much more than an hour on fuel. So being a 3-hour race, it means they've actually got to do 2 stops. They've got to come in, change drivers, and then they've got to come in and have a splash before they finish. So that's whereas the little TCR car there, the little Hyundai we saw, that'll easily do an hour and a half on fuel. So that can do 1 stop only, where the others have got to do 2. So there's about a minute in track time that you lose coming in to do that splash even.
So a lot of the faster cars will try and build up a big lead, for the first pit stop, and then keep another faster driver in for the little wee splash and dash to bring it home. So therefore the other cars that can then tactically and strategically be slower and longer can only possibly try and do 1 pit stop.
Exactly, and that's what I love about endurance racing. It's a game of chess, isn't it? Especially, I mean, with a 1-hour race, there's nothing that none of that comes into it really. But a 3-hour race or longer, all sorts of tactics, and it's not always the fastest car that wins because there's all sorts of things that come into play. So, see that's probably one of the trickier corners we're looking at there. That's the Porsche Dipper. And if you brake at the top of that Porsche Dipper, the car goes all light and you start, the braking's not so good going down into that. So here's Lance Hughes coming around again. Trying to make up for that little nudge that he had there before. And obviously now it's dry, far better for him. The car with that much torque and that much horsepower, you need that grip.
Hamilton Asphalts and Lance Hughes done a great job racing with the B&T V8s. He's brought out the likes of Jack Smith and Andre Heimgard, who've all gone on to success in the supercars. Great to see Andre almost got a pole, didn't he, in the supercars?
He's come alive, hasn't he? Really, he's
showing what he can do in the Mustang. So that's been great with Lance Hughes and the team, getting that sort of transition and also that use of the guys coming over from Australia to New Zealand.
Yeah. Oh no! Look at this. This is the Hyundai that we're been giving big raps to in the pits with the bonnet up. That's very, very surprising. Not sure what's happening there, but it can't be good. Mark Petch in the background there, and they're pushing to the garage. So what a shame for these guys. They're out so early in the race. Hopefully they'll get that going again. But boy, these are the guys who had the 1 minute advantage with fuel. So what a shame.
And Gene Rollinson, the other driver, so he'll be sitting there having a chat with the guys saying what is the issue. Will I get a chance to actually get behind the wheel? This is the Aston Martin, this is the GT4 car.
Yeah, and that's Greg Brink, who up until recently was actually the Aston Martin dealer for New Zealand. But Greg's had a huge racing background, raced bikes, motorbikes, boats, production cars. And he and Aaron Slide have actually raced together before. Aaron Slide's going to come in later on, but they raced, I think the last race they had together was about 1997.
96, the Safe Drive Enduro race, I think.
Yep.
And Aaron said the last time he drove was 8 years ago.
Yeah, and most people, of course, know the name Aaron Slide very, very well. He's probably certainly the most famous driver here today. but he's got
Great background in bikes, but let's go down to Adam and find out exactly what's gone wrong with that Hyundai.
There's a bit of oil on the ground here. We'll see if we can get the team. They're all under the bonnet there, and if you can have a look at the ground here, you'll see there's quite a lot of oils. Quite a lot of oils come out of the car. So we can try and find out what has happened. Don't know whether it's gearbox or whether it's engine. I mean, these TCR cars are normally very, very reliable. So I'll pick my moment and see if I can get a word with Gene Rollinson in the room. Stand by. Any idea, Gene? Sorry to bother you right now. Looks like a lot of oil under the bonnet, so something's gone wrong, and that looks to be terminal, I'm afraid. So I'd say that's their day done.
So the team's still trying to work out exactly what the problem is for the Hyundai. There's Shane Helms back on the track again, so he's out there after his little moment. The man who's done a great job as Golden Homes, getting behind the sponsorship of the series, as the big Aston Martin, the Vantage goes screaming past them.
And we just saw John O'Lester before in shot there, going through. So now he's, despite his pit stop drive-through, he's still in 6th place. So he's in there with a chance. He's behind Connell Dempsey in the Porsche 911, which we saw on screen just a bit before. There he is, flashing the lights. Everybody knows that he's coming through down into that turn 1, which is a blind corner. This one they're coming up to now. You can't really see much. Big sweeping downhill, easier to run wide there. Obviously he's had a nip inside the little Honda. And then you go up and over turn 2, 3, 4 complex, which is you can just see there.
77 there, Shane Helms in that Audi. He's actually brought a guy all the way out from England called Neil Garner, who's had experience of racing in Formula One as an engineer with Fernando Alonso, who's basically brought him out here to run his Race Lab team and to build the fast cars. And there, him and his lady are loving being down with life down in Manly. So it's great that more people from overseas are coming back and enjoying motor racing in New Zealand. Let's go trackside now, catch up along pit lane with the latest from Adam.
So we're here with Craig Innes, who is driving the TCR. It looks like something let go.
Yeah, it's real unfortunate. It's blowing the dipstick out. Not quite sure why, something's led to that, but smoke and oil and then 3 cylinders.
So the car was running fine before that. When it got a bit damp, you looked to be having a good time.
I was hanging on for dear life, to be honest. These cars, you got to keep the rear tyres pretty hot, and sitting around on the grid, I didn't get them hot enough, so I was backing into a few corners, but I think everyone was struggling pretty much as I was, so it was even, yeah.
So did it give any warning, or just all of a sudden it was...
It did have a little bit of smoke coming into the cabin, but we thought it was an overfill, but perhaps it's related, but the stopping was all of a sudden, yeah.
Any chance of going back out, or is that you done for the day?
I think that's us done, yeah. Shame.
All right, well, we'll go back to Clint Brown and the commentary team, and we'll keep you up to date with what's going on in the pits there. So back to the commentary team.
Thanks, Adam, and real bad luck for Craig Innes and Gene Rollinson. They were really looking forward to putting on a great show and seeing what that TCR car can do, because there's still a lot of curiosity about that class, and like so many forms of motorsport, it's been bitten in the bud by COVID-19.
Yeah, exactly. It was all set to go this year, but of course it's all being shelved now. There was this cars arriving, even the Australian series, of course, which is bigger, has been put on hold. Such a shame. Back on that GT4 Aston Martin, so as we were saying before, these are much closer to road car. Greg Brinket at the moment in there, and Aaron Slight, one of the world touring bike superstars, is about to jump in later on. Interesting guy. He did do some British touring car racing after he finished on bikes. He always says he always actually wanted to start car racing, but simply couldn't afford it. Bikes are a whole lot cheaper, so that's how he started.
One of my most famous memories of Aaron Slight has been on the back of it was Honda Goldwing going down the back straight at Pukekohe as a pillion passenger, we were doing about 260, 270k. And I was hanging on, boy.
I bet you were.
It was good. But you get the wind factor. You put your head up, coming out of Castron to start at the back straight. Just about took my helmet off. And I thought that was a bad move.
Well, Aaron and I did a story for Autocar magazine. I had an Audi R8 production car, and he bought a Suzuki 1000, I think, out, and we did simulation race laps around here, comparing the bike and the car together. Absolutely fascinating to see how the two put their times down. He was about a second and a half faster in the bike, but he did it in a totally different way. Way faster on the straights, but had to brake a lot earlier, hundreds of metres earlier. And his mid-corner speed was low. So really interesting to see the comparison.
And the way in which they can lean those bikes over and scrape their knees around the corner, it's just one of those things your brain goes, what the? Really? You know? So talking about what's happening along pit lane, let's get some more reaction. And Adam Jones has got a real champion Kiwi bloke and a champion New Zealand driver in quite a few classes now.
So we're here with Simon Evans, who's back from Europe, having won the Jaguar E-Series over the E-Pace Series over there. How are you finding coming back to endurance racing here?
We've been a big fan of endurance racing for a while, so it's always good to be back. And when I was stuck in my hotel room for 2 weeks, Andrew Nugent texted me to see if I want to do the 1 hour with him, and yeah, for sure. And then Lance rang up, so it turned out to be quite a busy day. So didn't have much luck in the 1 hour, but we're just hoping to have a clean race here today in our car and have a good result.
So you guys will probably be quite thirsty on fuel, so you're definitely a couple of fuel stops, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, depending on how the race all plays out. And I'll jump in after the hour mark at some point and bring it home right to the end. Lance is doing a good job so far. But yeah, we just want to have a good clean race, have clean pit stops, and then hopefully be there towards the end.
So a little bit nervous at the beginning out there watching the car on slicks go around.
Yeah, much rather be in here than be out there with wet track on slick. So, and Lance did a really good job. Got an awesome start. Unfortunately got spun, but there's still a long way to go. So we'll just do the best that we can and just have some fun.
So will you be doing the next round, or what's your sort of future plans?
Yeah, we're planning on doing the next round and go from there. So, endurance racing is brilliant fun. A lot of strategy involved. Every race is completely different, so you never really know what you're going to get in terms of weather or safety cars and that. So, yeah, we're planning to be at Pukekohe, and Pukekohe is the best track in New Zealand. So, I can't wait to get there.
So, I mean, obviously you've come back from Europe racing the electric cars, very different experience. Give us a quick rundown of how your season went, and obviously you won the series, and the difference it is to what we do here and what you used to race in that big old Commodore.
Yeah, obviously being electric is the big difference, and they're all street circuits too, so they're not fast, they're all quite stop-start and all low speed, but still any race circuit is pretty brutal on the cars trying to extract lap time out of it. But yeah, we won the first race, and then we were equal with the championship, and then we're second, but we managed to peg our way back, and the last race it came down to that, and we managed to win the championship by 1 point. So we had Giltrap Group with us, so it was fantastic to be with New Zealand company on the other side of the world, proud Kiwi and all to represent and come away and beat some very good Brazilians.
And just the difference in driving experience between what you used to have with a big V8 and electric. I mean, electric cars are quite fast, but how different is it?
Yeah, so you got, when you're driving it, you got less tools in the toolbox in terms of to feel how fast you're going, because there's no gearbox, there's no sound, there's nothing like that. So relies a lot on visual and a lot on feel. So that makes it really tough. But the racing is so different. It's timed racing. We had attack modes, so you get the extra power, you had to activate it, and so many different scenarios can play out through the race. Virtual safety cars, normal safety cars. But at the end of the day, it's still a race car. It's still got 4 wheels and a steering wheel, so you still try to push it to limits and try to get the most out of it.
So, was your street car one?
Sorry?
What do you drive on a daily basis?
I work for Jaguar here as well, so I bought a Jaguar I-Pace out here. It's parked right next to the front gate, so everyone can't miss it when they walk in.
They are beautiful cars. Do you have you towed anything with it, or is it just a day-to-day driver?
No, it's just a day-to-day driver at the moment, but really like it. and obviously cleaned up all the major car awards last year. I think won over 70 global awards, so that just speaks for itself. It's a lot of people get a pleasant surprise when they drive it, just what a good car it is.
Well, I'll have to get you to give us a go in one. So on that, we'll take you back to the commentary team, Con Brown, and see what's happening back on track. So thank you.
Great to have Adam Jones talking there with Simon Evans, B&T V8 champion, and of course now the E-Series Jaguar champion. So it's a cool car, mate. It's a big cat. So he's a cool cat. So well done. Great to have Simon Evans back here, because from the famous Evans family, just love their motorsport and dead set great drivers. Himself, his brother Mitch, of course, in Formula E, and Owen. So great to get out of quarantine. How weird is that? He said, what do I do for 2 weeks? But then now he's back here motor racing, which is fantastic.
Yeah, luckily he's got a full-time job as well. He works over at the Jaguar dealership over on the North Shore. So you want to go and talk Jaguars with him, that's the place to go to.
The cool cat about the big cat, and here's the big star out in front and doing a great job. Thor, the heart of racing, in that beautiful Aston Martin Vantage, which has got a Mercedes. What's the tie-up there between Mercedes and Aston Martin?
Yeah, well, it's a Mercedes AMG engine, 4-litre twin turbo, same as the Vantage road cars. But in fact, they run less horsepower in this than they would in your Vantage road car if you had one. Part of the GT3 rules, they have to restrict the boost and all that sort of thing, so to make them comparable with non-turbo cars and all that sort of thing. But yeah, they've had an engineering tie-up there for a while. McLaren obviously is a very small company, despite the fact they do sell a lot of cars over here in New Zealand, but they need that engineering expertise from Mercedes. So they've introduced that, and they've got a few other bits and pieces from Mercedes in there, but still very, very individual, and the cars feel quite different than if you drove the same Mercedes with the same engine. So they're very distinct. They feel very, very much Aston Martins. And that new Vantage is a sensational little car. Well, when I say new, it's been out a couple of years now, but quite different to the old one where they made their own engines. And look at that smoke drifting across turn 10 there from the other part of the track. Look at that. Looks like fog coming across, but that's from the drifting going on, 100 metres or so on the other track.
Big black Ford Mustang there. Let's go trackside along pit lane now and see who else is ready to talk to us about what's going to be happening with the racing today.
So here we are with Dave Dovey, who's not only the president of the North Island Endurance Racing Drivers Championship, but he is also the team owner-manager of the Audi V8 that's out there. Tell us quickly about how things went in qualifying, and you're pretty happy with the car so far.
Yeah, so far the car's brand new. It's its debut. It's been 3 years in the build, and we've done limited testing, so we're really excited that we put the car on P4. The car is quick. We have more development that we can do on it. John O'Lester's out there at the moment, circulating. He'll pop in the next, say, 20 minutes to half an hour. Matt Dovey will get back in the car. He'll do is about an hour, and then Jono will finish the race. So it'll be interesting to see where we finish.
So, as the president of the series, I mean, it's been pretty tough times to sort of postpone the series and then come back with 2 rounds. Talk us through sort of what you've had to go through to get here today.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge, certainly. So I do want to thank both the Speedworks and Great in Events. Their team have done an amazing job. I mean, we cancelled out our series due to COVID. We're supposed to be running in like May and June, and we just wasn't going to happen. So we're working towards this event. We work with Motorsport New Zealand to try and come up with a format so we can still race, and they've been really successful at doing that. But it has been an incredible amount of work, and they've just done an awesome job. So Karen, who's our series coordinator, the amount of hours between her and Rachel from Great Events, Amanda from Speedworks, even Jeff Shaw from Speedworks, have done an amazing job to put all this together. So I'm really happy to be part of this collaborative.
I mean, it's walking up and down pit lane, people are just really excited to be racing again. So it's a real big deal, and well done for all the work that you've done to be able to make that happen. and it's you know, it's obviously we've had to do some changes to do it. Do you want to tell people exactly how today's working?
Yeah, so yeah, thank you. It has been a lot of work, but there's been great opportunities. This is all new territory. So we had our very first ever, I believe, Zoom, a driver's briefing. And we had that on Wednesday night. I don't think it's ever been done before, but it was really good. There's been a whole bunch of changes. So people are being pragmatic in their approach to make sure that you know, that things are not the way that they were, and it'll be some time before they are. So they just have to adapt. And I think everybody's really happy, and they are adapting to it. So, because this could be around for a wee while.
So, I mean, for instance, there's no one on the pit wall. Explain why that is.
To be on the pit wall, you are allowed on the pit wall, but you have to have full safety gear on. This year, we had decided as a club, the North Island Endurance Race Drivers Club, decided that we need to invest in our team to make sure that they're safe. And we witnessed a video of at Bathurst that there was a fuel spill and somebody went up in flames. And he was wearing all the right gear and he sort of shook it off and he was absolutely fine. But if you had guys that are just wearing, you know, a pair of sneakers and a t-shirt, the consequences are way too horrible to think about. So we've made sure that everybody up-specs their safety equipment. So everybody has to have two layers of safety gear on. They're going to wear safety socks. They're going to wear balaclavas and gloves. Those who are refueling are going to wear goggles as well. The main reason is that you and I standing here, a car comes in, we may not be part of that crew, but what happens is that we are in danger. So.
All right, well, that's great to hear all the things that have been going on with the North Island Endurance Series. So we'll go back to Clint Brown back in the commentary booth to see what's happening out on track.
Thanks very much, Adam Jones, and of course Dave Dovey, the key behind the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Racing Series, and as a club doing some great initiatives as we take a look at the battle back out in front, Johnny Smith, and it's which car has got the advantage? It's the Aston Martin Vantage against the Aston Martin Vantage, and it's the Thor racing car 52 that's got a huge advantage because that's GT3 compared to GT4, and I think he's just moving back up through the field.
Yeah, he's just about to overtake second place. So he's coming up on the McLaren that's running in the Fawcett McLaren that's running in second. So he's about to put him a lap down. So phenomenal. He's lapping, just to give you an idea, in 103s. He's done 101s. So he's consistently lapping 2 seconds a lap faster than the McLaren he's flashing the lights at the moment.
And that's the McLaren of the defending champions from last year with Glenn Smith and Chris Vanderdrift, and they're about to be lapped, are they?
Yeah, exactly. So this guy's building a huge advantage, isn't he, for his co-driver? And as I say, but they'll have to come in at about the 1 hour mark, and it's only 33 minutes. So he's still got half an hour in the car there to stretch that out. He can go over an hour, but not by much.
And a great advantage too for Darren Kelly, one of the two drifting champions, giving it a track to go on the track and a chance to go basically straight, hard and true rather than sideways for once, of Cole Armstrong actually in the other advantage, well, the other car, which is...
Isn't that good to see? Now, I've just seen Connell Dempsey really slowing down, coming ironically out of the Porsche Dipper. That's not a good sign at all. He was lying in fifth place, so something has seriously gone wrong there. That's a hell of a shame. We're just about to talk about that car. We're going to follow him around. That's started off as a Mante Porsche car. So Mante in Germany is a hero almost. He runs a lot of the fastest racing Porsches over there. Now he's actually based at Nürburgring, right opposite the racetrack. A big facility. And he's developed now a relationship with the factory, so he's a factory tuner, if you like. And he's they bought that car from Mante, bought it over. Motor Science and Peter and his team have actually turbocharged the car, which the factory said, oh no, you shouldn't do that. But maybe they shouldn't have by looking at what's happening, but yeah, it's a very sophisticated car.
And all he's trying to do now is limp it home to get back to the pits so they can try and fix whatever's gone wrong.
Yeah, if they can, of course. So Peter and his team will be nervously standing by. I can see smoke though, can you? Oh, that could just be out of the brakes because they've been running so hot.
but it's not what you would expect from a Porsche, because
Hell
normally
no.
Conal Dempsey is very, very consistent when, you know, he's been racing in the Pirelli Porsche series. Always very, very fast.
And he was going to run with John Penny, who's not particularly experienced in Porsches, but has done a lot of racing in the V8 Super Tourers.
He's done a lot of endurance racing as well.
Yep.
So
NZ V8s.
he's a good driver. He's had a crack in the Porsche series too. So JP. And so he'll be bitterly disappointed if they don't get it back to the pits and they can't work out what's gone wrong here with the number 51 Porsche of Conal Dempsey and John Penny.
Yeah, no, that's a shame. That was 5th place, and he was doing 105s consistently. Yeah, into the garage. That's not looking good, is it?
So 33 laps gone on the Golden Homes 3-hour enduro. And that's what it's all about too, isn't it? We talked a bit about that battle of the unknown, the battle of the uncertainty, and the one thing that's certain in motorsport is the fact that you don't know what sometime is going to be around the next corner. Always expect the unexpected, especially in big time sport too. Something can go wrong, and you know, sometimes they just do when you at least expect them.
Well, there's Peter that built the car. He's probably not very happy at the moment, but it's never a good sign when you've got a 911. You're looking under the back there. Obviously, it's something serious. So they're going to take the wheel off. That's where we saw that little bit of smoke coming out, didn't we? So something's broken or leaking in there.
And this is where the team backsplash comes into this motor racing this weekend too, because you've got the drivers out there trying to do their bit, but it's also a great effort by the teams who've also been in lockdown, and they've got to come out and actually get these cars prepared with a limited amount of track time and preparation as well too. So you never know, that could sometimes cause problems with the cars.
Oh, look, it can. You did right. People, months and months and months without doing anything, and all of a sudden you're pushed under pressure.
Well, I remember the opening day of lockdown when we came out of level 4. The AA had 2,000 calls for batteries, flat batteries, because they hadn't been driving the cars.
Look, we've just here. We're going to cross now and catch up with what's happening.
They're looking at some axles there, so they've got some axles sitting on the ground down here. If you just come in and have a look. So we just got some axles there, so I'm here to say they're going to pull an axle out, not some broken one. And they think a wheel lot of do that. I'll just stick my head in and see. Yeah, it looks like broken axles, so they lost drive, so they've come in, they're going to swap that. They will get back out, I'd say, but they're going to lose a lot of laps with that.
Disappointment there for that particular team with that axle problem, and work for the team now to try and get that car back out on track. But that's where the teams love it. That's their challenge as a technician, as a mechanic. That's where they thrive on, to be actually to react and then get the car back out on track again.
And personally, that's what I love about endurance racing, Clint. It's you're walking up and down the pit lane here. There's never an atmosphere as good as an endurance race because everybody is involved. Whereas sprint racing, it's very much you just, once you're in the car, you go for it yourself. And if you finish, well, that's it, it's all over. If you don't finish, sorry, it's all over. Here, though, the team's involved every step of the way.
And it's great that 77 we talked a bit about before, Shane Helms. He's actually brought a guy out from Europe to help run the Race Lad team. He's had experience with Fernando Alonso in Formula One. That's a guy called Neil Garner. So there's another Neil in that team that's had experience in the WRC and the World Rally Championship too. Talking about great experience over the seas, and Adam Jones is back down along the pit lane with Chris Vanderdrift.
So Chris Vanderdrift, of course, is driving the 650S McLaren with Glenn Smith. So qualifying went pretty well for you guys, yeah?
Yeah, it was good. Yesterday we didn't do many laps because of the rain, but we had a few laps at the end, and the car's fast, so just had to put some new tyres on it this morning and move around the traffic, but that's fast. The car's real quick.
And so there was a little bit of confusion. You guys thought you were in second, but you had pole.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. So yeah, I mean, good for Glenn to start at the front. So he's just going around circulating now, so just getting a bit of a pace going. So I'll jump in soon, so counting in the time, and then we'll see how we get on.
We're just being told there's going to be a safety car, so we're just going to go back to the commentary team and see what's happening out there. So back to Clint Brown and the commentary team.
Well, I can tell you what's happening is we're into this 3-hour race, and that's why they call it enduro, because they're starting to drop We've got one car in the shed. Now we've got one car parked on the hairpin, the Race Lab hairpin there, and it's the Ford Mustang of the Coopers. So more drama out here, and as we said, expect the unexpected. You never know what's around the corner, so it'll be a double yellow flag for the that particular part of the circuit.
There's the safety car sign, Clint. So safety cars alerted. I can see the guys in the Aston Martin pit next to us rushing into action. So they're going to bring that in, the Alex Rivera's car. So I'll bring them in and take it. Even though it's only 40 minutes, this could be the break they need, which means that they'll still need only one other stop, but it will work in a lot better than trying to do it in the end. So here it is, coming in.
Very quick on the track and very quick to react to that safety car. It's up on the jacks. Doing a driver change here. So it's going to be Alex Rivera getting out of the car and Darren Kelly, the D1NZ drifting Kiwi star, back in the car after they had a great weekend at Teretonga last weekend in the South Island Endurance Series. And the team going to work, trying to maintain that advantage in the Aston Martin.
The good thing for Darren Kelly, of course, is that he's got a lovely cushion there. He doesn't have to work too hard to maintain that advantage. So really easy for him to just ease his way into it, because he's not as experienced, of course, as the driver that's just jumped out.
Even one of the guys on the wheels there, Stephen Giles, from the Toyota Racing Series, and of course experience overseas in Formula One as well. So they've maintained the advantage for the Vantage, and away they go as the recovery crews are out there on track, and even they have been looking forward to the motor racing because they know it's been a breakdown and they've expected the odd breakdown, and they had their break, so they're right into it as well to get them off the track and back to the pits.
Yeah, they've just overshot there, Clint, so they're pushing it back in because you can't reverse down a pit lane, of course. So if you overshoot, then you've got to back up. And I think I also saw the Audi stopping in further down the pits, but he's come and gone by the looks of it. So he's had his pit stop, and it's a great chance to take advantage of this when the track's slow, because that safety car will take a while. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what's happening there. But of course the Lance Hughes car now has moved up with the Connell Dempsey car dropping out. It's the old story, it's terrible luck for Connell Dempsey, but great news for Lance Hughes. So that and the GT4 Aston Martin of Aaron Slight and Greg Brink has moved up. So safety car lights on, you can see there in our picture on the main straight, still going until they get that cleared.
That'll be good for Simon Evans too as well. You know, when you get back behind the wheel of the Lance Hughes car.
Yes, exactly. That's it's giving them all a fighting chance. So at the moment, of course, Glenn Smith hasn't come in, so he's gone to the lead.
And it looks like Lance Hughes is coming into the pits as we go down and catch up with the man who's leading the race at the moment, with Adam Jones.
Alex Rivera, who just got out of the Aston Martin, which was leading the race. I could see you speaking with the crew when you got out of the car. What was the question there?
I just wanted to ask if everything went well in the pit stop, and they said yes. So luckily we were able to capitalize on the safety car. We were always ready to have the advantage in case the safety car came out. Always be ready to capitalize on it, and I think we did well. So the car feels good. I think we are in a good position. Now it's up to Darren, and at the end I will jump in again.
So how was that first stint? It was pretty slippery.
Yeah, it was very, very slippery out there. The track was a bit wet. So, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, it was fun. Yeah, I was having a blast out there.
I think we're going to go back green, so I'll just cut back to the studio there to Clint Brown, because it looks like we're going to go green on this lap. So, cool.
Great to see a guy like him, even in challenging conditions, loving that challenge of being greasy and slippy and having fun out there, even in the wet. That shows you he's a real petrolhead and a top motor racing driver. Great to have him down there, Alex Rivera, with the Hana Racing team.
Isn't it great? It's good to have some names out, especially at the moment. I mean, you know, how can you get these guys here? He's obviously had to be here for quite a while to be able to do this, all the quarantining and all that sort of thing. So another lap from the safety car. They obviously haven't quite cleared all that car out of there, so one more lap.
So what would this do for the teams and the drivers if you made a quick change, just a chance to once again rethink reassess, just reboot, and just see exactly where you're at and what stage of the race we're at to what you've got to do to bring it home?
Yeah, well, of course, the tough work for the crew chief now is he's got to recalculate everything, because they would have been planning on coming in about 20 minutes, not now. So all the original plan's gone straight out the window, and they have to recalculate again. So there's two cars at the back of the field, both Audi and Lance Hughes' car. So we'll have to just check to see whether they had driver changes, which we assume they did. So presumably that's Simon Evans in the Lance Hughes car now, and it's probably back to Matt Dovey in the Audi. So we'll see how they go and how they can get through the field now they've had their stop.
So we're just here with Sam Fillmore, who's co-driving in the Audi. So it's great to have you back in the country racing.
Oh mate, it's exciting to be back. It's been a fun weekend so far, and let's hope it just gets better.
I mean, how has it been, coming back to the series you ran in for so many years?
It's pretty cool coming back in Andrew's car, and he was gracious enough to invite me to drive it. And it's probably one of the coolest cars I've ever driven. So yeah, very, very special.
All right, we better get back to the Clint Brown and the commentary, because they're about to restart.
And back racing again, we got the green flag after 45 minutes, round about 40 laps in the 3-hour enduro. So really, they've just got into a rhythm, and now they've got the first couple of cars having issues, mechanical problems. Now they've started to make a few driver changes, so this is where the other drivers have got a chance to get out there, get their feel of the track, get their feel of the car, and do their job, because they'll all have a plan, won't they?
Yeah, and as we were saying before, though, it's quite a change, because that was a fairly early pit stop. It would have been nicer for the teams, the front teams that need the double stops, if it was another 20 minutes later. So they're still going to have to change again. We just heard Alex saying he's going to get in for the last stint, so they're still going to have to do those 2 stints. So it really hasn't helped them a lot, but economically and time-wise, it's a lot better to stop during a yellow flag, of course, or a safety car. So they've taken advantage of that, and now they've got to work their way back through it. So there's the Audi going past the Aston GT4.
And I think Simon Evans would have got behind the wheel of the 84 Lance Hughes car now. I think we saw that in the pit, so he should be out there on track.
Yeah, and he certainly knows his way, as we all know. He's a V8 Supertura champion. He can really pedal those things. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of time
Look at this as he comes streaming down the inside. And of course, a B&T V8 champion, so he knows all about this track here at Hampton Downs. And it hasn't taken long for Simon Evans to get out of E mode and back into V mode, back into the V8s.
Let's see what sort of a time he can do. The previous fastest time for that car was a 1:05.8. So let's see what Simon can do. I reckon he can probably knock about a second or so off that. So let's see.
And Darren Kelly, meanwhile, in the Aston Martin, who'll just be out there trying to circulate and doing a time that was close to Alex Rivera, or just whatever time that he's been practicing in to maintain that sort of advantage and massive lead they've got.
Once again, we'll keep an eye on that, because Alex did a 1:01.9, which was his fastest lap in the first 40 minutes there. So we'll give an idea of what he's doing. It was a 1:10 last time, but he's still just warming up on new tyres.
We'll keep an eye on the number 1 car too, because that should be Chris Vanderdrift, who I think should have actually been able to get in to make a pit stop and get in and do a change from Glenn Smith.
Yeah, so he's doing 1:03s now, so that's getting down there, of course, in that car.
I'm not sure if Aaron Slight's been able to make the change during that safety car period with Greg Brink. So no doubt Adam will cruise along pit lane again and keep us up to date with which drivers have done what stints and who's next up.
Yes, yep, we need a bit of an update on there. There's, look at that, there's the battle. It's it would have been interesting right from the start, wouldn't it? The V8, basically tube frame car versus factory GT3. Both capable drivers, although one not as used to driving around in straight lines as the other guy. A drift champion versus a track champion.
2 champion Kiwis really enjoying their racing in the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series, and this is a straight drag race now, isn't it?
Look at that Commodore's got some big old Chevy power. It's big block Chevy, fantastic straight line grunt. And that's a man that can get the most out of it, that's for sure. Simon Evans there.
And interesting when he was talking to Adam about the difference between how you've got to drive like a V8 with all that muscle power compared to the E-Jaguar series, where it's all, you know, you've got to have that sort of attack mode and the electrification, when and where, even the tyres, the lack of sound, but the whole setup's just a completely different sort of world, isn't it? Here we go.
Well, this is turning into a good battle, isn't it? We can watch this for a while, that's for sure.
These boys are going to have their own little wee private lap duel over the next few laps to see who's going to blink first, who's got the power, who's got the cornering experience or even the racing experience. It's certainly in favour of Simon Evans, but perhaps the power and the machinery in favour of Darren Kelly and the Aston Martin.
And this will be good for Darren, won't it? He can watch Simon's lines, he can figure out where he's faster and where he could be going faster. This is how you learn. It's not all just about data, is it? It's not all just about watching, you know, where you should be braking earlier. And you can simply see, look at that. So Simon obviously got a much better run coming out of that big sweep up the hill. The straight line speed seems to be similar. He just got a better run, and that's where Darren will be looking at that and going, okay, I need to sharpen that up. I need to work on that exit there.
It looks like the Honda's got a bit more mid-corner speed. I think that was the one thing they were saying about the Aston Martin, sort of great speed, but then is it not quite with that setup in the mid-corner? Having said that, round the mid-corner, nails it. Nothing problem with the mid-corner speed.
Different lines too. I see the Aston was turning in quite what we call early, whereas Simon was taking a more traditional line through there, getting a better exit, which is possibly why the Aston wasn't quite so fast in some places. But look at that. Now it'll be interesting to see now that he's got a clear track where you can focus more. It's very easy when you're behind another car to start watching the back of that car, and it distracts you and you just end up following in his wheel tracks, which means you find it very hard to get past. Now he's got nothing else but clear track. He can lock ahead and just put his head down and try and get some decent laps in.
But having said that, back comes Simon Evans. Has a look down the inside, almost contact. Kelly just drifts it wide and thought, hang on, what's going on here?
I think what happened there was he saw him in the mirror and got a little bit distracted, which is exactly why you do what Simon just did. You're trying to distract the other guy, make him just force a little error. But Simon again got that big run, didn't he, coming out of turn 10, which is the one that heads up the start and finish line.
So even after coming up to the 1 hour mark, battles developing amongst different cars throughout the field as the smoke continues to drift across from the drifting part of Hampton Downs over the back. So it's all happening, as they say in the classics. It's just turning it up big time.
Simon lost a little bit of time there, just punched it a bit hard down the Porsche dipper there. Just lost a bit of time coming out. He had to sort of lift a tiny bit. But this is where he gets a run, right out of here. Simon gets a better line, gets a big run up the hill. It's so important because it's uphill. But he's dropped it just enough spots there that he's not going to be able to catch up on turn 1 like he did last time.
So lovely to have a car like this out here in the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series. That's Alex Rivera and Darren Kelly, the Kiwi behind the wheel, and GTA. But the good news is for Lance Hughes and Simon Evans, they're currently the quickest car in GTB, so they'll be on tow. Oh, almost up onto 3 wheels. Simon Evans coming up and over the hill.
It's actually amazing how much body roll it's got compared to the Aston, isn't it? It's set up quite soft, I think, that comp.
And even Simon was saying that the difference, say, like between, say, the Super Tour or even the B&T V8 is a difference between the tyres sometimes. Different type of grip, you know, from the Dunlop to, say, a Michelin or the tyre setup compared to the car as well. So there's that classic sort of thing about chasing speed or getting that right setup, or drivers saying haven't quite got the confidence in the car to be able to turn it in, or you know, that mid-quarter speed or my exit speed.
Yep, probably the worst thing is if you turn it in and you get entry oversteer. In other words, you turn it in and it starts to slide immediately. That's probably the scariest one. That's what the guys in the Seat were experiencing. So a little bit more wing than that fixed that. But yeah, you're right. It's a matter of having the confidence. You've got to be able to drive it just on the edge. If you're not confident, it's hard to do that. So there we got 3rd place coming through.
Andrew Fawcett and Sam Fillmore.
Both a couple of. I remember Andrew Fawcett. I first met him when he decided he wanted to run in the Wellington Street Race. In your days when you were running in the Centro Cup, probably about that time. He'd never done any motor racing before, just decided he wanted to run in the... I said, oh, you can't just waltz up to the Wellington street race and do that. And lo and behold, he appeared on the grid in a Toyota Corolla. Just decided that, well, if it can be done, I'm going to do it. So yeah, he did very well, and he's been racing NZ V8s, Trans Ams, all sorts of things since then. I haven't seen him for a little while. He had a Ferrari for a while, didn't
He was back out here last year during the Enduro, so I think he likes to be able to pick his moments. And the great thing about the Enduro is if you're a racer like, say, Timmy Edgell, bad luck today in the 1 hour race, you get a chance, if you're going to be racing once a year, if you've got 1 hour or 3 hours, you've actually got a chance to get some seat time, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Because you can go out and do your practice laps, but it's when you get into the racing groove is when you want to turn it into a really good performance and a satisfying performance for yourself.
Yeah, well, look, that's what you got to feel for poor old Gene Rollinson sitting there in the pits at the moment with that TCR car looking perfect and just not going to get a run at all today. What a shame.
Imagine being part of the 24-hour Le Mans, all right? And the likes of, luckily we've had great success going back to the days of Bruce McLaren and Chris Amon and Denny Holm and Brendan Hartley and Earl Bamber. Imagine being in that, and after an hour, your car cocks out.
Yeah.
And you're the guy, you might be one of 3 drivers, and you don't get a chance.
Like I tell you what, it weighs on your mind when you're in a team like that. You do not want to be the driver walking back to the pits with a steering wheel in your hand and wisps of smoke around your hair, saying, "I'm sorry, guys."
And they all say, "What happened?" I don't know. Something went wrong.
Something broke.
Something let go. It wasn't driver error. Was it me, sir?
Yeah. Yes.
And the other 2 guys sitting there with their helmets almost on, sort of glaring at you.
And your day's over. It's happened to me once. Happened to me at Nürburgring, and that's exactly what happened. The guy crashed badly. The car, it was an Audi, caught fire. And he came back about an hour later. Sorry, guys. That was after about 10 hours. There's still 14 hours of racing to go. That was the end of that.
It was like once when we were doing the Rally of New Zealand, and we were going to go with a promotional ride with Ari Vartinen when he was out here racing. I think he was in the Subaru team or the Ford Escort team, and he snotted the car on the shakedown, and the car should have come up over the hill. It was Ari Vartinen and Greg Gowdy that walked up over the hill, and he said, "Oh, sorry, the car's down a bank. You'll have to go and get it."
Oh no, that's embarrassing, isn't it? At least
Ari, it was just one of those things.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's not their money. It's just unfortunate.
So, updating the race pace and the race place at the moment. Number 1, Glenn Smith, and teaming up with Chris Vanderdrift. That's currently in the lead. Remember the car that won the North Island Endurance Series, the national champs last year, with Glenn Smith and John DeVeth. And doing a great job here with Chris Vanderdrift and Glenn Smith. So after that first round of pit stops and a safety car, after around about that first hour of racing, so the Aston Martin's got a big advantage, but at the moment it's Glenn Smith and Chris Vanderdrift who have the lead.
And they're running very close to their fastest time at the moment. So their fastest time is very, very low 103, and they're just running high 103s at the moment. So they're consistently where they want to be. I'd say that would be in the 3s would be a target time. That would be a winning time normally, whereas the Aston is about a second faster than that. So that's the problem, though. They're just about a second off where they should be.
So when you look at the battle there of the team plans, you've got 2 drivers who could potentially circulate in 103s. You've got Alex Rivera who could potentially do 101s, and then Darren Kelly, not quite as experienced in this form of motorsport as other guys, but doing a superb job, doing around about the 104s.
Yes.
So at 1 second per lap may not sound much, but over 3 hours, and including another pit stop for a driver change and a splash and dash for petrol, that could certainly come into the equation.
Yeah, oh, it does, and that's why I think Alex was so keen to stretch that margin out. They would know from practice and qualifying that there was about a second or so a lap difference, which is not a lot. And I'd have to say, if you're inexperienced at this type of driving, this sort of car, actually you'd be pretty pleased with yourself to be only a second or so off the pace, wouldn't you?
And it's very interesting too, because we were speaking earlier today on our live stream, which we certainly hope you're enjoying, by Adam and the team at Fast Files, with David Ware, who's one of the driving instructors here at Hampton Downs, along with Matt Gibson It's at every team you'll try and have a race pace for each driver, whether it's 110, 113. You've got to stick to your plan, because the other teams will have different plans and different race pace, but you'll be able to circulate at a certain time so they know you'll try and get to that pit stop. So even if you may be down at one part of the start of the race, if you do it consistently and you can calculate your fuel and your tyre pressures and everything else that comes into the equation, then you'll give yourself a chance to be in the hunt when you get down to the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're dead right. Stick to your plan. Look, I think I've never run a marathon, but I think it's similar to running a marathon. You would have run dozens of marathons.
No, I only got a half, mate. Only got one half.
I reckon the worst thing is to run too fast early. You break out of your plan. And it's very simple, because you exhaust yourself. So very similar to here. Look at that Audi. Those boys will be pleased that that's going well. I mean,
and these are fast cars, but you still want to look after them. Right?
Oh, yes.
You still want to nurse it around and look after the tyre life.
Yes.
And you don't want to burn out too many tyres or go too hard on the brakes if you don't need to.
Yep, you're exactly right. Look, you go back 30 years and you had to nurse the brakes. Everything had to be nursed. Now, it's the brakes you don't really have to worry about too much. It's more just the tyres. And these guys will be running a hard compound tyre, of course. So that makes a big difference. But, you still have to take that into account.
So quite a few cars in the pits, suffering some mechanical problems and out of the race at the moment. They'll be working hard to try and get them back in there. The first to go was the Hyundai of Gene Rollinson and Craig Innes, Connell Dempsey, and the GTA Porsche, Rick Cooper and Dion Cooper, and the Ford Mustang. They're out of the race at the moment, so you're going to get some DNFs. That's going to be part of the unfolding drama of an endurance race.
I'm just looking at a Hawke's Bay car there. That's a couple of guys that have done a fair bit of this endurance racing, and it's nice to see Matt Dovey behind the wheel of that Audi, keeping in pace with them, and that's actually for position. That's the Porsche's in 6th place. That's Rob Williams, and then that's
Phil Blythe and Rob Williams, number 24.
Yep, and that's in front of them, is behind them, sorry, is the Audi. So
they've been really good contenders in their class before, so done a great job. Love their racing. Phil's done a lot of Mazda racing.
Yeah, and those are guys that have got, you're right, they've got a good plan. They're not going to go out and burn that car up. The thing about Porsche is if you keep your head, they should, even though we've seen one expire, they should just keep trucking around there without any dramas at all.
And also Shane Holland out of the race too, and Tom Sutton and the mighty Mazda. A couple of boys coming up from Hamilton. Good Hamilton petrol heads.
Yeah, good keen guys.
Disappointment for them. Bernard Wright sharing the drive with Steve Taylor. Used to be racing a Honda more times than not, in the Ford Mustangs. So two very experienced Enduros guys who just love their motor racing. So they're glad to be back behind the wheel.
Good cars, those Mustangs. The race is something very similar in endurance racing in the States, a later model than that. That's still sort of the same shape, but they've got a twin cam V8 now, and they're very fast. They're deceptively quick in a straight line.
Well, it's been an iconic sports car, hasn't it? The Ford Mustang, and it's great how it's suddenly come back in a big time with, Scotty McLaughlin and the team, and just about every car to be competitive now has to be a Mustang in the supercars. Although tell that to Shane Van Gisbergen to say, no, bugger off, Brownie. Nothing wrong with the Holden, especially with me behind the wheel.
So it's interesting, I was asking the guys at the last race I did, which was at Road Atlanta, in their Mustang, just recently, and I said, how often do you rebuild the motor? And he looked at me like I was missing. We don't rebuild the motor, we just buy a new one, because they're only about 10 grand US. So we just haul the old one out, sell it used, put a new one in, away you go. So it's you imagine that's cheap running, isn't it?
Cost-effective motorsport, especially on a big scale in a place like that. There's the 635 diesel BMW of Glenn Chappell and Sean Varney.
Little puffs of diesel smoke there. But yeah, as I was saying before, won its class at the Nürburgring 24 Hour. They have a special diesel class. And because the manufacturers, diesel's huge in Europe, as you know, Clinton. So many people drive diesels. Although it is being gradually phased out of all the cities over there.
Hybrids are coming.
Yes, and diesels, of course, are they're just that much more pollutant. Even though they've got them way better than they were years ago. They're phasing them out now.
Well, every car manufacturer these days has to be like Toyota's all about sustainability. They're not just a car manufacturer, they're more like a mobility company.
Yes.
It's all about moving people from A to B, and that's why Toyota's gone big on hybrids. I think the whole diesel thing, the sustainability, the environmental ability, the likability, and keeping it clean. All your manufacturers, your BMWs, your Aston Martins, they'll all be heading that sort of way. Hence the reason why Simon Evans is back here as an e-sport champion with Jaguar.
Yep.
Mitch Evans is racing Formula E overseas. Some people cannot get their head around it, don't want to get their head around it, but the cars are coming, different types are coming. I think, hybrids being big sellers, great cars, very environmentally friendly, superb performance. I think the electric car, they'll probably try and tweak a sound, put something into the sound to make them sound so you can actually hear them, because that's the other thing, is there's like stealth mode, you can't hear enough of these guys.
Well, interesting you should say that. I was out here last week at Hampton Downs, and they had the Porsche Taycan, which is their latest sedan, which is 100% electric, and that sounds, it's almost like a lightsaber sound as it comes towards you. Yeah, they record the sound of the electric motor, and then they play it back through speakers, so you can hear it coming, and you can hear it from the inside as well. It sounds like a little spaceship zooming along. It's quite sensational, but they do it so that you're not going to step out in front of it because you can't hear the damn thing.
Yeah, and so the speed factor's not a problem, but it's that, from a purist motoring point of view, it's the sound, the smell, that is sometimes the big attraction. And in our part of the world, this sort of noise is heaven.
Look, and I tell you what, and I've been around this track in electric Jaguars, Teslas, Porsches, that sort of thing. They are just as much fun, really, on the track, because you're still braking them to the max, you're still cornering them to the max, all this sort of thing. You just don't get the sound.
You just can't hear them.
Yeah, with the whining sound.
But from the pure sensation of speed, they give the driver exactly what you need. As we take a look at the online BMW of Toddy Borden, teaming up with a young 15-year-old Flynn Osborne out of Hamilton. He's had a big success in karting over the last couple of years. And Paul, that's Barks, aka out of the boys from Winger Subaru, teaming up with helping Toddy run this guy. And what they're trying to do here is give a young 15-year-old a chance to get some tin top experience out of go-karts, which is great, fantastic. And another young petrolhead coming out of Hamilton, so well done to Todd Borden and Bargs and the team in that online BMW. And talking about the team, here's Adam down in the pits.
Tell us, what are you guys up to here?
We're just keeping an eye on Todd out there. He's doing pretty well. Laps now, and his quickest one of the races was lap 50. So just about an hour and 8 into the race, and we'll probably bring him in somewhere around lap 87. We took advantage of the safety car a little bit earlier on and put 25 litres of fuel in just so we could get him past the halfway mark, and our critical lap now looks like a lap 87.
So I think if there was a prize for the most managerial looking table, you'd get it.
Yeah, well, we've run out of lollies, so if you've got any, we could do with some more. But yeah, we've got the motor race that's happening out here, and on this computer here, we've got the V8 supercars live from Australia, so things are happening.
And we also have to give Paul a big thank you for sponsoring the showing of the Ken Smith film in Hamilton. Did you get some good feedback from the guys about that?
Yeah, we did. It was a great movie. He did a great job, and all the customers of Winger Hamilton and online contractors were wrapped, and yeah, all the best with that movie, because it's a bloody good movie, and hope you can do some more.
Yes, all right. Well, good luck for the rest of the race, and hopefully we see you guys at the end. And you're going to be running both rounds?
Yeah, we will be, Adam, and hopefully we'll have the second car out as well at the next round. So, thanks very much.
So you're feeling itchy feet to get out there?
Yeah, I am actually. I've got Todd's brother's overalls on, and we're missing him because he's locked out because he can't get over. I'm going to give you 15.
Great to see Adam there catching up with Barks, Paul Rivera out of Winger Subaru, and helping out with Toddy Borden and that online BMW team. And good to see the team. I think it was Shane Helton's back out there as well, teaming up with another top driver, and giving him a chance to get out there in Cole Armstrong, one of the other drifting guys in the championship this year. A couple of drifting guys getting a chance to go racing. Here it is, the 77 Audi. It's good that they're picking up the sponsorship this year, and Race Lab building this. Well, he doesn't know how many cars he's got there, so obviously quite a few. But loves the motorsport, which is great.
That's another car with a strong connection to Nürburgring. They call that a VLN model, and a VLN is the series. It's something or other to do with Nürburgring, and they run a whole lot of 6-hour races and things. So Audi built about 6 of those, I think, specifically for that Nürburgring series. And there's a class that they can run in, the 2-litre turbo class, but they always ran in the top 10 against even the Porsches and the Astons and things over there. So great little car, even on the fast Nürburgring circuit. So should be a fun little car, and they say they're reasonably easy to run because they've essentially got a Golf GTI motor in them. GTR motor. So it's
5-cylinder?
Yeah, it's a 5-cylinder one, that one. So a Golf R motor basically. Or no, an Audi RS3 motor, that's what it is. 5-cylinder one, yes. So very capable little car.
And just designed to keep on going.
Yeah, look, it is. It's factory designed, so they've built in a whole lot of strength and they time everything. So that's one of those cars that you've just got to replace bits as per the manual. After 5 hours of racing, this gets replaced, and after 20 hours of racing, that gets replaced. And if you do that, they reward you by just going round and round and round. Phenomenal cars. All the aero on it helps a lot. You can see the big diffuser at the back, the big wing on the front, the big wing on the back and the big air dam on the front, the big scoop there in the bonnet, all that's all factory designed just to shift air. So they're like a giant air pump, these things. So they'll be phenomenal on this turn 10. Lots of balance there, and you can probably see that's where you should be able to make some decent ground on that Mustang because of the weight difference and that sort of thing. It looks like he's, just as we're talking about that, he might be easing off a little or coming into the pits. He's into the pits.
So we'll see if they're going to do a driver change. And get back behind the wheel, see what they're going to do.
That's one of the tightest pit entries you'll see anywhere, Clint. That is unbelievable. You've got to go on some of these cars, you've got to go full lock to get it through there. So look at this fuel going in. And the next driver coming out, all dressed up, ready to go. Looks like they're going to get all that done first before he jumps in. So it was a nervous time, the driver change. You can get in there and sit on your seatbelt or something and start to panic because you can't get it. It's all
for some race cars, depending on the size of the driver, they're hard to get into. I mean, you've got to practice. Before it all happens, so you know.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. You can actually hurt yourself flinging in the car so hard, and so your adrenaline's pumping and trying to get in there fast as you possibly can.
So we'll get Adam to go down and catch up with the team from Golden Homes. A lot of building companies will be experiencing a golden time at the moment, with New Zealand housing market still ticking over quite well, which is very important.
Yeah, people take advantage of those.
Well, it's been interesting talking to a lot of these business guys about how their business has been affected by COVID-19. Yes, they can't go racing, but is their company still going? Are they? And a lot of people saying they're busy. They're still busy, which has been remarkable.
Yeah.
The car market, the housing market, but you don't know how long that's going to be for.
He looks a bit tired, doesn't he?
Shane looks like he's given it all as they hand over to Cole Armstrong.
Yeah. It seems to be a long pit stop, doesn't it? But I guess it takes a while.
He'll be cool, calm, collected, Cole. Because drifters know how to handle the car. They may not, go straight and fast, but when you've got it sideways at 150k, they know car control. So don't worry about this guy.
And no lack of bravery.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
And heaps of attitude. So he'll be out there. It'll be smooth and fast. It'll be an adjustment for him. I guarantee he'll do a good job here. He'll have his own race pace, his own lap times he'll be wanting to hit, click, and stay consistent with. And beautiful changing conditions now, fine and sunny here at Hampton Downs. It's the Golden Homes and the Golden Light of the North Island Endurance Series. Of course, towards the end of the day, you get that beautiful period called the golden hour, where if you take a photograph, that's when you get the best.
The yellow light.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the golden hour for photography. Get towards the end of the race.
So there's the little Audi coming out in 10th place. So they're doing really well, aren't they? Just to give you an idea, that car's sort of circulating in 108s, 109, something like that. So it's doing exactly what a factory-built endurance car should be.
Great shots of the track here drying out at Hampton Downs. And look at this. This is for the lead here. So this is one of the drifting guys. That's the Vantage Aston Martin, driven by Darren Kelly. And in front of him, you've got Chris Vanderdrift, I think it will be, or is it Glenn Smith in the number 1 car. We're not sure if they've made that driver change. So he's one of the drifters out there. The other drifter is, we've just seen him, Cole Armstrong, get into that 77 Audi. So as DT said, wouldn't it be funny if they're going to be side by side? And I think, is there a problem for Shane Helms there and Cole Armstrong coming up the hill? This is the Aston Martin, and that doesn't look good.
No.
That's a real shame.
In 10th place as well, they were.
Yeah, as the Aston Martin is in the pits getting changed, but it's all about trying to get the Audi back to the pits. So that looks like Aaron Slight.
Yes, he's running around grabbing his cushion. He's getting back in. Yes.
He needs that cushion. Different size between him and Greg Brink, you see.
Greg holding the door for him there. Oh, look at that. What a shame.
No.
Mind you, good luck for these Aston guys, because yellow flags and that sort of thing coming out at the moment. Maybe a safety, well, it will be a safety car. It's going to help these guys, isn't it?
You're going to put some tyres on, fresh rubber.
Good timing. So eventually we see what Aaron can do in that car, won't it? It's Greg, Greg's a very, very competent peddler, but eventually see if Aaron can make it any quicker. Safety car signs there.
You want to get out soon too, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So that's a real disappointment for Cole and for Shane Helms and the Golden Homes team with that beautiful Audi. But it's all now for Aaron Slight. 8 years in between getting behind the Tim Top and off the bike. Still loves his motor racing. He was saying under lockdown, Masterton didn't really change. It was always like lockdown in Masterton.
Oh, that's a bit cruel.
Life's a nice cruising pace down here for him.
He loves it there, doesn't he? He's got a nice rural property out there. He's got a little daughter down there.
He can do his donuts in his backfield if he wants to. And nobody can tell him no.
He's a character. He's got a Chev-powered Holden Ute.
Yeah.
An old one.
The big donut maker.
Yeah.
He's a classic Kiwi. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a bloody nice guy. He really is.
Amazing stories he tells you what it's like when he comes off a bike. He said there's a big difference at 150k and you slide slightly on your knees to being 300k going head first over Brian Blower and you're completely off your bike. That's when you got to be able to land, and the first thing you do is you try and stand up, because then you know A, you're still alive, and B, nothing's broken. He was telling that to an All Black and to a guy from the America's Cup, and the two guys, their faces just dropped. We were doing a series on TV3 many years ago, Blood, Sweat and Fears, and Slidey was talking to Craig Monk and Ian Jones, and it was amazing. Right, that's Aaron Slight behind the wheel. Let's catch up with Adam and Greg Brink. Shane Helms.
What do you think of my outfit today?
Mate, it's looking really good. You sport that quite nicely, bud.
So, talk us through your race so far.
I didn't have a good day today, as you can tell with my voice. I'm a little bit under the weather. I did get tested, it's not COVID, I can rest assured you on that. But I have got a fever, I have got a cold. I was pretty inconsistent out there, I did the best that I could. Then I noticed there's an issue with the left rear. Came into the pits, the boys checked it over. I think they thought it was okay, but I'm pretty confident now the car's actually stopped on track. So I'm not sure whether it's an axle, but it was just sliding all over the place.
So it's been getting progressively worse.
It's actually for the whole race, but yeah, you're right. Every time you lean on it, just wanted to step out and go. And then it started making some clunky noises, so I just had to come in.
All right, well, hopefully next round will be your round.
Thank you.
And thanks again for sponsoring the series and of course making us be able to bring this live stream to everyone.
You know what, it's my pleasure. It's a bloody great race series. You know, the spectators up here, they're in for a treat. These GT3 cars that are going around the track, it's beautiful machinery, and it's good motorsport. Yeah, definitely enjoy sponsoring the series.
All right, well, will you see what's wrong with the car? Do you think it's just an axle, or is that your day, you think?
I don't know. That's their job, mate. I just turn the steering wheel.
The team's looking really beautifully set out, the Race Lab team with the Aston as well, yeah?
Yeah, the boys have been with me for a little while now. They're passionate about motorsport. They're passionate about car restoration, everything that they do in the Race Lab workshop. And like all things, when you've been together longer, you get slicker and slicker and slicker. And yeah.
Well, there's an admission from Shane. So we'll cut back into the studio with Clint Brown and check out what's happening on track with that safety car.
Well, 2 safety cars, go figure. Normally you don't see a lot of safety cars. Well, not in endurance racing in New Zealand a lot, do we?
Too bad. It's it's unfortunate.
It's not for crashes, but mainly, sadly, for the mechanical breakdown.
Yeah. I was hoping this little Audi TT might have just been a switch that was knocked or something. Look, it's actually quite easy to do that. You know, you reach for something and all of a sudden you've switched the switch off. It's one of your master switches or something, but it sounds like it's a bit more mechanical than that, which is a shame.
So great work by our recovery crews here today, and also those flag marshals. Really appreciate the effort that everyone from all the car clubs around the region have done. And of course the team with running the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Racing Series. Gee, she's a war of attrition. Key word is enduro here, because we started with 15 for the 1 hour. We've got lost 6 cars now, down to a top 10, a top 9.
And some unexpected ones, you know. I wouldn't have thought that that car, that'd be one of the last ones I'd pick as...
and even the Gene Rollinson and the Connell Dempsey car, you know, the Hyundai TCR and
well,
the other Porsche.
Yeah, it's so new. It's not a very old car. It's a latest spec one. It hasn't done a lot of racing. Once again, they're pretty tough little cars, so, you know, very disappointing. They'd be in there with a big show now, wouldn't they? They'd be up in about 3rd place, that little Hyundai, if they kept going. So, yeah. Looks like that's a refuel inside the garage there, and that I guess it's diesel, so it's not so flammable, is it? So they can do that there with the fireman standing by. But a little bit of underhood stuff going on there. This is the car that they changed the turbos on before the race, switched it from a twin turbo to a single turbo. So I'll be interested to catch up with them later on and just see if that made much of a difference. But it looks like they're pouring a bit of oil in it. Once again, never a good sign, particularly only after an hour and 20 of racing.
And we also had the onboard on that particular car, but it's been unsettled. So it looks like we can go green again, and we can get back to racing after what, 1 hour and 20 minutes? 1 hour 23 and 72 laps down.
Now we're coming up for halfway, aren't we? But some of these cars, we've still got, like the car on screen at the moment, it's probably still got at least one more stop to do. So that's interesting. See that pit blend line there? That's the fast line up through there. You want to shorten that corner as much as possible. It's illegal to get 4 tyres over that yellow line, but 2 is okay. So you can cut that corner slightly there.
So Glenn Smith, Alex Rivera, Fawcett, all those top 3 cars all on the same laps, done 73 laps at the moment.
And Simon Evans there, still punting that round in really, really fast times. So he managed to do he's just done a 108, but obviously that's just getting started again. So we'll see what that drops down to. He's done the car's done 105s earlier on. So we'll see what he can get down to. Here's a race between the GT4 Aston Martin and the Audi with Matt Dovey driving it. And there's the Dempsey Porsche back in, the Connell Dempsey Porsche back out again. I imagine with John Penny driving this time. Look at the grunt of that car going down there. But is that a puff of smoke coming out of there, Clint, as he was going out there? Doesn't look too good, does it?
It's a bit hard to say sometimes with that smoke drifting across from where they were doing the drifting. So It's good that they've got this Connell Dempsey car back out.
Yes, it'll be.
Because it has got some speed, as you can see with the John O'Lester Matt Dovey entry, number 80, the Audi with the big Chevy motor.
Pretty effortlessly got past him, didn't it?
I wonder if that's Connell or John Penny behind the wheel.
Yeah, it might be in the case that where it's had an issue like that. Normally, what happens, they say, look, we'll give you a go, hop in, John. So we're going to cross back to the pits with Adam.
So tell us what was going on there?
After about 5 minutes in, I had a oil pressure light come on only once I was coming through the corner. So I basically had to slow down about 2 seconds a lap and just try and get to the hour. So we utilised the pit stop. We didn't want to come and do an extra pit stop, so I slowed down to start doing 11s and 12s, and it actually started to come right. And then the other cars seemed to be slowing down a bit, the TT and the Mustang, so I pushed on and I'd actually got into the 9, so the car's going really fast. And then, but every time I try and push it, the oil light come back on again. And I've effectively just had to wait until we got over the hour and then utilise the safety car. And so we had to come in, top up the oil, and Sean's out on track, and he's just going to basically nurse it to the finish. But I mean, it's going really fast, so I'm really happy with the car.
So you don't need to do a tyre change in that car?
No, we're hoping they'll last 3 hours, so touch wood, we'll be good. So everything seems to be pretty good. Like the car just through the corners is just keeping up with all the GT3s. I'm just getting done down the straights, but it's quite good. I'm having a good muscle with the Mustang, which is a bit of fun.
So you've done quite a bit of work on this car in the down season, yeah?
Yeah, we've switched from a twin turbo setup to a single turbo just because we had to, because one of the turbos went out and basically the time involved to do it. Luckily, my spare engine had a single turbo setup, which gives us about another 30 horsepower, so we're probably at about 470 horsepower now, but I used to be working in this band for torque, and now I'm in this band, and I'm basically driving it like a two-stroke motorbike, and we're using a bit more fuel, but like lap times wise, it's going really, really, really well. I'm really happy with the handling of it.
So you say 470 horsepower, but what's the newton meters of torque?
It's about 800.
So that's where the real key with the diesel is, isn't it?
Yeah, but with the twin turbo setup, we've got that from about 1,000 revs. Now we got it from about sort of 3 to 3.5, and between 3.5 and 5 is my range with 4.8. So we've got a little window to work with at the moment. But once you're just changing down the first and hairpins, and it's working pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with it.
That's all right. Well, one of the things we pioneered today was an in-car in this car, which unfortunately the in-car camera has come adrift in the car, which might cost someone some money, but anyway.
Yeah. No. Someone donated a highway phone or whatever, so that's rattling around in there somewhere, but I don't think it come off. It's just sitting there on the window. I think it must have just curved in, after on the pillar. But hopefully we'll get a little bit of footage at the start there. Well, but I've got the in-car going. See some things, but yeah, basically we had a really good start. It was going fast, and then after 10 minutes it just oil like come on. I just had to slow down, so
well, we showed one of your fast laps, which is a good thing, so there you go. Yeah. All right, well, we'll get back on track and go back to the commentary team back in the studio.
Certainly hope you're enjoying our live stream via Fast Files with the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series. This is the 3-hour race after a great performance in the 1-hour race taken out by John DeVeth. And the big question is, can his buddy Glenn Smith and Chris Vanderdrift take out the 3-hour race? On track at the moment, number 10, the combined efforts of Andrew Fawcett and Sam Fulmore in this beautiful Audi, and circulating in that top 3 at the moment.
Interesting hearing about the BMW. We were talking about that earlier, weren't we, with the single turbo versus twin turbo, and he's, as he said, more horsepower but more difficult to drive, narrower power band, which is exactly why they put twin turbos in the first place, isn't it, to give you a wider spread of power.
So this car currently circulating in a pretty good time and has worked its way up to 2nd overall now. Of course, the sister car to the Neil Foster Johnny Reed Audi, run by LMS, by the IMS, the International Motorsport Team. And Foster and co doing 103s at the moment, currently working their way up into 2nd spot. in front of the Aston Martin Vantage, driven by Darren Kelly, who's circulating slightly slow around about the 106 or so. 3 seconds per lap, which is what we talked a bit about before, in Lance Hugh's car being driven by Simon Evans is doing 105. So at the moment, because of Kelly, very good driver, but hasn't got the same level of track experience, these guys are certainly making the most in this mid part of the race, which is where they'll try and build up a lead, because you can guarantee when Alex Rivera gets behind the wheel, it'll be given the old Spanish fling, and he'll be flying, trying to make up for lost time.
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
with when they're fueled up to the finish.
Exactly, but the great news is that Alex's fastest time in that Aston was a 101.8. That was his fastest time during the race. Darren Kelly has just done a 102.1, so he's only half a second off Alex's best time. So he's really starting to dial himself in there, isn't he?
And Chris Vanderdrift, I think, behind the wheel of the Glenn Smith car, he's done a 101.8 as well. You can look up there, the best time.
There you go. He has too.
And Alex has done a 101.9. So if they're still in the race towards the end, then she's game on.
Well, in that case, he's done the fastest lap of the race to Chris Vanderdrift now by a 1/10 of a second over the Aston. So he's a very talented man. I heard you talking earlier about Chris Vanderdrift, but of course he had a single-seater history in Europe, and then has been racing in Asia for a long time, and just dominated the Porsche series there, the Super Cup for a while, dominated he's even won the Lamborghini Cup series over there. Very, very talented driver. Currently living back in New Zealand now with a kart shop, specialising in karting.
Yes, he said he'd been doing a lot of karting.
He's involved in supplying and coaching and all that sort of thing, but fantastic guy. So it looks like Simon behind the wheel of that Commodore is actually looming up on this Aston, so we might be in for a bit of entertainment here, Clint.
But wait, there's more. Hold the phone blocker, because this battle is really starting to heat up with the experience of these track drivers up against the Darren Kelly, fantastic car. With the Aston Martin, hasn't got that same level of track racing experience and perhaps confidence, just to be able to go as fast as he wants in that beautiful machinery. So Simon Evans really trying to do a big job here to hunt him down and pinch third spot.
It's not going to be easy for Simon, because they're both circulating about 105, so he's not going to just loom up on him, that's for sure. So we might be watching this for a little while. It's going to be a bit of cat and mouse, isn't it?
The best time for Lance Hughes and Simon Evans has been a 104. See where he comes down here? He's almost got that, the front inside wheel. He's almost three-wheeling there.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? They've obviously got that car set up pretty soft, because what that does, if you have your car, the rear soft, it gives you great drive out of the corners, and I'm wondering if that's why they've done it. For corners like that, and also maybe corners like this one, turn 10 coming up, give them some great drive out of there, make the most of that big V8 in there. So that's where he was really doing well before. He was launching it up that straight in the BMW. So maybe he can do the same thing in the Commodore. He was in the BMW in that 1 hour race, of course.
Let's see if Darren Kelly reacts, see what his last lap time is as they cross over the finish line again. And this is a nice enduring battle as they creep towards third and fourth. So they're both doing 105.3, 105.7. So I think the Aston Martin would have been told that, hey, that Commodore's on your bumper and closing fast. They've just reacted a bit.
Just sped up a little bit. I think he was possibly deliberately cruising there, just conserving, trying to make that fuel stop a little faster next time around, if you don't have to pump so much in. So you're right, because he has done quite a bit faster lap times than that. So and look at that gap is just stretched out a bit, isn't it? It's not quite as close as it was before.
Let's see Aaron Slide on the 111 Aston Martin in the lime green car. He's been doing some good race times, some good speeds. There he is there. He's doing about the 109s. And Matt Dovey in the other Audi right behind him, the car number 80. Good battle between them as well, further back down the field.
I don't know if you noticed yesterday.
Battle between 6 and 7 at the moment. So this is Matt Dovey That's Aaron Slight there. He's in 7th, and he'll be hunting down the Audi of Matt Dovey. He's right behind him though.
Yeah. So I don't know if you noticed yesterday during the rain that Aaron Slight went out for his first run in this car. The car was on the screen at the moment, and he was something like 4th fastest in the rain. Unbelievable. Great car control.
He's only done 76 laps though, Matt Dovey, and Don O'Lester done 78 laps, so still 2 laps down on them, back in 7th place. But good for Slidey to get out there and give it a fling. Get the old foot down on the floor and get out of lockdown and have a showdown in the race.
Yeah, let's hope he gets the bug and does a few more of these things. He's done all sorts of things. He's even done Targas. He had a little Honda Integra that he used to run in Targas, and as I said before, British touring cars back in the day. So he's done quite a bit.
Legend on two wheels though, Aaron Slight.
Yeah, that's certainly how he's a legend in Japan. He used to be mobbed over there by fans. He's a huge name around the world. Probably less known here in New Zealand than he is in other parts of the world.
A bit like Graham Crosby.
Yeah, well, he's another one that's not a huge name over here, but Graham raced Group A Commodores and things, didn't he, for a while?
Yeah. Oh, Simon.
What have you done, Simon?
Yeah, old Crosby Cross and Peter Brock out here at Pukekohe as well. Came out to the Wellington street race. Great character, Graham Crosby.
Now that's the spot you were saying he was almost lifting a wheel over turn 3 and 4 there. So he's.
I wonder if it's a let go or something's just gone.
Or either that, or he just pushing, and just made a slight error. Hard to know, isn't it? He's done a lot of racing today. Maybe he's getting a bit tired. He had the 1 hour race. He was in there for half an hour. He's had 2 lots of qualifying, so it's a double qualifying run. He had to qualify in this as well as the BMW. So unfortunately we didn't catch it, so it's hard to tell, but looks like he's back up to pace now, doesn't it?
How tough is it and tiring is it behind the wheel in an enduro like this?
Oh, hugely. I mean, the heat he's coming into the pits, so you're right, Clint. I think your call on that was right. It must be some issue. He's coming in to sort something out. Well, what a shame. That's dropping them back down again. So not only did they have that, they got nudged off the track early on. Now it's an unplanned pit stop, which is a damn shame. Going back to your question, yeah, look, the heat is intense. They have cool suits with ice, and that's sort of the modern cool suits actually. The trend now. Oh no, this is a bad sign, Clint. Into the garage. What a shame. So hopefully we can get Adam down there to see what's going on. That's not good. That's robbed us of a whole lot of interest, hasn't it, if that's the case?
Yeah, it just adds to that battle and to the intrigue too, though, because, you know, you've got these cars, you think they're all sweet, they're all prepped up, planned it. But as we were talking about before, the AA, when they came out of lockdown, 2,000 calls for batteries because people hadn't driven their cars, they're all flat. And so these cars haven't been driven for a while, so perhaps that's another reason why we're getting a bit more breakage and just lack of preparation time, perhaps, who knows?
Yeah, look, you could be right, because this is unusual, isn't it? You know, you don't normally get this sort of attrition, do you? Normally have a much better run, and really by international standards, a 3-hour race is almost a sprint race, just about. Really, I mean, you think compared to the 12 and 24-hour races, this is a baby.
They used to do the 6-hour race, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. They'd always had a high attrition rate, but cars have also moved on. And these Super Tourers are normally pretty tough, aren't they? They don't have too many. You remember back in the Super Tourer days, only a few years ago, it was unusual for them to break down and fall off the track once they got all the bugs sorted out after the first couple of races. But he's taken the safety net down. That's it's obviously not going to get out there in a big hurry, is it? Just keep an eye and see what happens there.
So for Simon Evans, out of quarantine and into the garage. He doesn't want to stay in the garage for 2 weeks, though, or even for two minutes.
Might be pleased to get home tonight and have a cold one, I think, after all this.
So back out in front. What's our elapsed time at the moment? How long have we been racing? For about an hour and almost 50 minutes.
Yeah, an hour 39. We're on lap 88.
So and it's Glenn Smith and Chris van der Drift still out in front. Andrew Fawcett and Sam. Yeah. Sam Fulmore currently in 2nd spot and closing in fast in 3rd spot at the moment. And coming back into that picture, it's the Aston Martin of Darren Kelly and Alex Riberas.
So we may be in a little lull at the moment at an hour 40, but that's going to be the exciting battle, Clint, is watching that Aston Martin once Alex jumps in for the final stint, just forging his way back up. That's going to be pretty exciting for us to watch. So the top three, it's still anybody's race between Glenn Smith, Andrew Fawcett and Alex. Be interesting to see.
Doing a lot of work at the brake pads there at the moment with that Hamilton Motorsport car.
Well, that might explain why he went off. Of course, if you put your foot on the brakes and there's not a lot happening, there's no room for margin, room for error.
And if you're coming around over the top of turn 3, the up and over, coming down and out of that corner, you can go straight into that gravel pit before you come down to the little short straight, which is around the race lab hairpin there.
Yeah, it's unusual though, for these cars to have brake issues. So maybe they just didn't have quite the right endurance pad in there or something. But it's only on the right-hand side. It looks like they're working, so it could be a caliper issue or something. One of the difficult times for these guys, of course, is when you stop for the red hot calipers. You get the calipers, because there's no airflow over them, they can boil the fluid inside the caliper very, very quickly. So just standing by to cross to Adam.
So we've just got Simon Evans at the wheel here. Obviously they've had an issue. So Simon, what happened?
Yeah, it looks like we've got a bit of a brake issue. Lost a bit of ABS, and then looks like they've had a damaged rotor or something's happened. So a bit unfortunate. I was trucking along really good. We've got a broken sway bar, so we're just trying to do the best we can with that. 3 wheels at turn 3. It's quite funny, really. But yeah, it's all right. We'll get back out there now and try and finish the race.
All right. Well, good luck with the rest of it, Simon.
So all the action in the pits at the moment, and you were shaking your head there, Stu. That would explain a couple of things from what Simon Evans was saying about the handling and the performance of the 84 Holden Commodore.
Well, I was impressed that you'd picked it up. The fact that it was three-wheeling, as you said, across the top of turn 3 there, which is that it's a crest. It rises and falls, and it feels like it's off camber. But that would explain it. If you've got a broken sway bar at the front, obviously it's rolling around, so yeah, it would make it very understeery as well. Normally, if you soften the front up dramatically like that, the car would want to go straight ahead, so he'd be trying to compensate for that by trail braking into the corner. So I doubt very much whether they've been able to fix that. They would have been able to fix the brake problem, but there's the Audi in the pits. So this will be interesting to see now whether Jono Lester is going to jump back into that Audi, and we'll see if we can pick up that from the action down here.
Matt Dovey, number 80, and Jono Lester in the Chevy powered Audi that they've been working on for over a year, so hopefully its endurance factor lasts the distance today.
It's interesting, it's a 5-stud wheel rather than a centre lock. So that's they're losing a wee bit of time in the pits, obviously, as opposed to the 1 stud that we're normally used to seeing on these sort of cars.
Bit of a challenge there for the team to make it quick. Currently they're in Class 1. They've done 84 laps and sitting in 4th, followed by Rob Williams and Phil Blythe.
So let's talk about classes for a moment there, shall we, while we're watching this. That car is actually leading that class. So Class 1, Matt Dovey is leading that.
Good to see that Simon Evans is back out on track in the 84
yes.
Commodore, which is great. And they'll get behind the wheel and then get back out on track. They'll give each other a bit of room to come out onto the track. So that's the other good thing about an endurance race. You have got time to make repairs in the garage and get it going again. There's Bernard Varight comes around and Steve Taylor in the Ford Mustang. So Evans is back out on track, and so too is Matt Dovey.
Wow, a lot of dust and stuff coming out of the tyre. I guess that's what he picked up off the gravel trap, so that's still being shaken out there as he goes through. It looks a bit alarming, doesn't it? So, yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's just dirt. He obviously dug it in through the sand trap there earlier on.
I think a lot of that dust has been blown across from the drifting anyway, perhaps. Just that particular part of the track, maybe just getting a bit of surface sort of soot.
Could be. You can see the dust going down.
Yeah. They term as the old motor racing marbles. Out there on the outside of the track, but they don't get a chance to be swept off and you hit those. Hang on.
Yeah, it looks like it's back up to pace, doesn't it? He'll get stuck into it again. Really, he's only got one speed, hasn't he? Somebody like Simon Evans, he's not going to want to muck around. He's going to push as hard as he possibly can. See if we can get it back up there again. But it's still, so Matt Dovey, even despite that stop, he's still in 4th place. Matt Dovey, John O'Lester. So hopefully they'll be out and maintaining that spot. All they need is someone to have a bit of a stumble in front and they'll move up. Aaron Slight still in 5th place. So here we go. Here's another stop, another driver change.
I think it's what Andrew Fawcett and Sam
Fillmore. So I'm not sure who's who now. That's just probably there. So this is an hour 46. So they've already had one stop under the yellow flag, didn't they? So it's Andrew Fawcett getting back in.
Yeah, I'd say Andrew Fawcett getting back in and potentially taken home. Well, they're obviously filling up with fuel there as well.
Yeah, they should. So they'll have to do an hour 15 one down fuel, which it should be able to do. Might take a little bit of fuel saving. But they should be able to do an hour 15, so it should go right through.
And one of the key things here because of COVID-19 is that you can't have everyone working on the car all at the same time. You've got to have different parts of the one fuel guy, the guys doing the tyres, so it makes it a real challenge for the teams as well.
The colour of that exhaust there, nice light grey. Oops, that's not coming on particularly well, is it? That's a bit of a... Oh no, it's off. They get so hot, of course, as they expand, and they find it difficult to get them off. All right, he's about to leave.
So we'll get Adam to catch up with that team to see how they're tracking, to see if their plan is right on target for a place on the podium in the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series, currently in 3rd spot, car number 10, the GTA class Audi. So it's Glenn Smith and Chris Vanderdrift out in front as we have 3 cars having their own little private battle. The diesel we talked about before, the BMW diesel. Aaron Slight in that beautiful GT4 Aston Martin teaming up with Greg Brink, working his way behind the diesel now with Sean Varney behind the wheel. And behind them, one of the Hondas out there at the moment and doing a pretty good job too of, I think that's...
Aaron's still in 5th place, of course, in that car.
This is car 88. This is the father and son combo of Marty McCullough and Matt McCullough.
Yeah, so Matt's the normal driver of this. Marty's the normal driver.
Marty's the dad, Marty's
yes.
the son, and if Marty's in there before we were talking to him, we were saying, who's going to be the quickest, dad or the son? And he said, well, you know, you probably just give dad the opportunity to have bragging rights in the family, so I think he's out there just to make sure he brings it home and enjoys the Saturday afternoon drive at Hampton Downs. Tries to be as quick as he can, smooth as he can without causing any drama or getting in the way.
Very distinctive paint scheme. I remember him from the last year's 3-hour race. They might have won their class. Sure, I can't quite remember back that far now.
Well, so much has happened with lockdown, mate. We've had probably a bit of brain fade.
So probably the best weather we've had all day now. Look at that. It's I'm looking out the window, blue sky, so no chance of rain, which even that rain this morning was a bit surprising, wasn't it? We weren't supposed to get anything, but of course 3 or 4 showers that mixed things up for us.
So he's finally clearing up as that McLaren really puts the foot down with Chris Vanderdrift. This is not karting now, this is the real stuff. This is a big kart. He's karting this around this track at the moment. Pretty good times too, a 103 the last time. We'll see what he did in that last lap to see where he's circulating. And if they're trying to build up a lead over the Aston Martin Vantage, because we may be down towards a sprint finish as they come back. So 103.2 the last lap. They've done 98 laps, and they're 2 laps in front of Alex Rivera and Darren Kelly at the moment. So this ain't over yet.
No.
There's still a lot to fold as we head towards the final hour.
Still the fastest car out there at the moment.
In comes 44 Todd Borden. And will that be the handover to young Flynn Osborne, or is it Flynn Osborne behind the wheel, handing back to Todd Borden?
Good looking car, that late model car.
So they're right down the end.
Yeah, they're at the
towards
far
the
end.
the exit, pit lane exit.
Swoops in out of the fast lane.
So down there for the team. Bargs and the boys will go to work. Wayne Harris there with the hair. He's one of the pit lane guys from the Marshals. Does a great job with all the motorsport out of the Auckland car, the Pukekohe Club.
Interesting they're using a fuel churn there. Some of the cars have fuel rigs which are a lot faster with those churns.
Toddy Borden, who's done a big stint, and going to hand over to the young 15-year-old Carter. So we've got a lot of kids coming out of karts, and guys like Chris Vanderdrift selling karts.
Yeah, it's fantastic, that karting experience, the racing experience it gives you. Because essentially all that racecraft, everything you learn about pacing other people, and getting down the inside, all those things, exactly the same. You just got to get used to the weight of the bigger cars, of course.
Yes,
It'll
and the
take a
fact
lot
that
more
you've got a tin top over your head, so
feel a bit safer.
Yeah.
There's a drag race there that shows the difference between a GT4 car and a GT3 car. Even though it's an Aston Martin twin turbo V8, the Audi with the big naturally aspirated V10 just rolled past it there. So driving skill can't make up for much in a straight line, unfortunately.
No, they've got that horsepower, then use it. So Andrew Fawcett will be really trying to get them back onto the same lap. So at the moment, it's the number one car that's done 100 laps, and the Aston Martin's done 99, and this one's done, the third one's done 98. So that is Andrew Fawcett. So 199 and 97 now. So just a couple of laps down. So still a chance for Vanderdrift and Glenn Smith to try and build the lead as Marty McCullough and Matt McCullough, the father and son in the 88 Honda, Bernard Verreit and Steve Taylor. Here's Darren Kelly in the 52 Heart of Racing Aston Martin VMR. In front of that is Matt Dovey in the number 80 Aston Martin.
And they're just clicking over, Glenn Smith just clicked over lap 100, so they'll probably do about 150 laps altogether, depending on safety cars and that sort of thing. And coming up for 2 hours, so we've still got about an hour and 8 minutes of racing to go. And it's just a matter for these guys now, particularly Glenn Smith, of trying to just keep that margin they've got out in front. So this car here we're watching is in second place, obviously, as you just said. And they've got, they're circulating a couple of seconds slower than the McLaren at the moment. So it's going to, the fireworks will come when Alex Rivera jumps back into that car, which I'd imagine would be in about 15 minutes time or so. He'll get about 45 minutes, I would imagine, at the end.
Well, they opened up quite a big lead beforehand.
There he is, coming past the little Subaru BRZ.
Of the
Subaru, whichever way you like to say it.
That's Robert Drum and Jeffrey Drum, as we said last year, Drum and Drummer. A couple of good characters. They love their motor racing. That's the little 46 Subaru BRZ. Looks like an 86, but it's not.
Very similar though, isn't it?
Same platform, just the Subaru version.
Same engine, that sort of thing.
So Matt Dovey coming up over the top of the hill. And we'll keep an eye on the Aston Martin Vantage, because it looks like the King car is coming in, and this could be the key moment as we get set for that last driver change. So the Spanish star Alex Rivera will get into the car. Darren Kelly's done his job, and there's a few laps to make up, but we saw that speed of this car beforehand. That's going to start creating a real good challenge.
But he's done a good job in that car, hasn't he? He's kept it out of trouble. There's not a mark on it. He did everything he was supposed to do. He hasn't knocked anybody, got any drive-throughs or any penalties. And now he's going to help the star get back in the car.
It'll be great for Adam to have a chat with Darren to see what that whole experience is like, doing D1 drifting, winning a championship there, and you know what you do with the car control, but now it's all about that circulating, lap after lap after lap after lap, and getting into a race rhythm and doing it in an enduro like this, so what that whole experience was like and being part of a team.
So you notice there's a little Kiwi connection. We had the door open there, even though these cars are built in Europe. They're factory-built GT3 race cars. Got Race Tech seats in them. So Race Tech builds the seats down at Petone, lower hut there, and exports
David Black.
David Black, and all the new racing GT3 Corvettes have got them in. Yeah, it's sensational. A lot of the V8 supercars have got them in. What a success story that is.
Yes, and he's been around motorsports a long time. So the driver change is done. They're fueled up.
Sparks coming off the back of the rear there, or something.
He's going to be back out on track, and then we'll work out about 3 laps down. The current leader in Glenn Smith and Chris Vanderdrift. I think they've just gone past, have they?
So he goes back out in second place behind Glenn Smith with the Andrew Fawcett Audi in third, and then the Matt Dovey Audi is in fourth place at the moment.
So there's your lead car, and they're 3 laps in front of the third car, which is coming back into view now, which is the 52 of the Aston Martin Vantage.
And that car is doing 102s last time, so he's picked up the pace a wee bit. He's obviously decided that the threat is on now, even though he's got a couple of laps up his sleeve. They're going to try and maintain. They're picking the pace up a wee bit because they know that the pace behind them is about to dramatically change. So
They know that they've got to keep the speed on because we're getting ready for the long sprint to the finish. It's not 100 metres, it's not like 200 metres, it's going to be like a 400 metre race. It's going to be just keep going, but as fast as you can, as long as you can. But we're hearing, what are you hearing, Stu?
Well, the Aston's got a little bit of a problem there, so it sounds like he's just gone past the pits. But I remember I did see some sparks coming out the back. I don't know whether oops, it's wobbling a bit. I don't know whether he's just pushing it hard or if that's got an issue. It didn't look very stable going through there. But I'm wondering if that rear diffuser is having a problem or something. It's we've heard that they are coming back in. So we just don't know why yet. He's pushing it
Looks
hard.
a bit bumpy, doesn't it?
It does look.
It doesn't look like it's like it's smooth and fast the way in which it's handling at the moment.
It doesn't, does it? It's looking wobbly, I suppose. That's the best way to put it. What sort of lap time did he do? It's too early to tell.
Not fast, mate.
No.
I think he's going to stay out.
Yeah, not coming in
So
this
Alex
time.
says, "Don't worry, boys. I've got it sorted." Doesn't look like he's going fast though.
You can see all the crew there. That's the International Motorsport guys all standing around.
They may have just kept them out there while they're sorting around, seeing out what the potential problem would be.
Yeah, this is crucial because this guy obviously is a potential winner of this. Let's see if we can pick up what's going on there.
So just updating the situation in the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series, the 3-hour race. The car on screen at the moment. If you're enjoying our live stream, is the 52 of the harder racing Vantage, Aston Martin Vantage, and it's driven by Alex Rivera, the Spanish star, and they had a big lead at the start of the race. Now they're around about 3 laps down in second spot, and they're chasing the number 1 car of Glenn Smith and Chris Vanderdrift.
It doesn't look right, does it? We'll just see. He did a 105 last time, which is about 3 seconds at least slower than what he can do, 4 seconds.
So Stephen Giles is on the wall. We've already said that that's not really going to be a busy place today because of all the requirements. So he might be trying to relay a message through to Alex.
So there's another 105 from Alex, so that's not as quick as he'd want to be, that's for sure. He's 3 or 4 seconds off for some reason. Can't see anything obvious, can we?
Obviously they're talking to him on the headset, and the crew chief's just trying to sort out what the issue might be, but meanwhile he's still wobbly, isn't it?
It's very unstable on
the rear end.
Yeah.
So it might be a situation where they're trying to sort it out on the track, make some adjustments perhaps inside the car.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Alex is saying, no, I think it's okay. He still look like he's staying out there.
Well, I guess they're trying to figure out if he can do 105s, which is off the pace. It'll keep them, at least it'll keep them in second place. So that's the decision I guess they're going to have to make, isn't it?
Well, take a look at the face of Stephen Giles there. When he looked at it, and you see his face, sort of screwed his face up as if to say, that didn't sound right.
He's not happy, is he?
So he might have a better idea of what the potential problem could be just by having a listen to the car on the wall there as it flew past. So he's going to make his way past these other cars, but it ain't over yet.
Well, that's the decision he's got to make, isn't it? Is it better to leave him out there running 3 seconds off the pace, or bring him in, fix it, which will take a minute or so,
lose another lap, couple of laps, but then be able to try and charge back.
And we have got an hour to go. We've just gone over 2 hours now. So this is what the Brains Trust will be doing inside that International Motorsport Garage, trying to figure out what the best measure is here. So in the meantime, I guess they're sending them round and round just to keep the laps ticking over while they maybe get the right part out, or they think about how they're going to deal with it, or where they just say, right, we're going to live with this, we'll just do 105s. So that time was a 104, so maybe he's just learning to live with it a wee bit.
Then he's just done a 106.
Yes.
So a little bit of traffic there as well, just working, and this is part of that intriguing battle of endurance. It's also the battle of strategy, tactics, and plans, and be able to change your plans and alter according to what happens, according as the race changes. So at the moment they're in their own race bubble, having a race huddle. That's the team there, Stephen Giles, and the team from International Motorsport as well, and trying to sort out what the particular problem would be and the best way to try and sort it, to keep them on the track and to keep them circulating.
There's Alex looking on.
Darren Kelly.
Sorry, Darren looking on nervously. You can see that race unravelling there.
He'll be thinking, I didn't do anything.
It was going fine when I handed it over.
I've given it over, okay? They talked about the whole Le Mans 24 hour. But don't look at me. Okay, let's try and find out what's evolving, what's changing, and get down to Adam in the pits.
So we're just here outside the IMS crew here, and they've been pulling out the boards for the old school lap boards, and they've been trying. Obviously, we've seen Stephen Giles close to the car and talking. From what I'm reading between the lines, but is there a radio issue between you guys in the car?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. That looks like they're getting the board out, so maybe there's some communication error, but yeah, I'm sure they'll get it sorted.
And so your stint went pretty well.
Yeah, it was good. Like, we still managed to get the full stint out of the way. But yeah, we're just trying to make some changes and make it better.
You look relatively relaxed and not sweaty, nice and comfortable in the car.
No, it's probably a little bit deceiving, but I'm definitely a bit hot after that one. I turned the AC off because we were trying to get some more straight line speed. But yeah, it's definitely hard work in there today.
I enjoyed that early battle between you and the big V8. How was that for you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, those things are pretty quick around here. Surprisingly, even through the turns and down the straights, they're very fast as well. So yeah, bit of fun.
And so from here, do you have to do a splash and dash, or is it a run to the finish?
Should be all the way to the finish now. Trying to stick to the 2 pit stops in the 3-hour race, so should be good to the end.
The pit stops are very different this year in the North Island and from what you've been used to in the last race. Tell us, how does that all work?
Yeah, so the North Island rules are very different to the South Island rules, and with here at Hampton we've got 2 lines. We're not allowed to cross them until the car's at a complete stop. Then me as a driver, I can run around, help Alex get out of the car. He can stay there, help me get back in the car. Not until we finish fueling can the guys start doing tyres, so there's a big time difference in how long it takes us to do a stop. But the guys here have done an amazing job, and they've really been nailing the pit stops, so it's been good.
Well, hopefully we can see you there at the end, and I think we're running down in time now, so yeah, let's see how things go.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right, we'll go back to Clint Brown and see what's happening back out on track.
So there you go. Well done, Adam, and good skills for Darren. What a great experience for a drifter to like that. You know, come out here and do this and hand over the car. Everything seems to be okay. Alex is obviously an issue they may want to tweak, but set to rock and roll for the finish.
Well,
at least he's got an open track here, unlike if you're trying to get over the Harbour Bridge. Apparently, she's chock-a-block again.
At the moment.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But Andrew
we
Fawcett,
could have a long day at the track, and even a longer day getting home.
Yeah,
well, you're right.
Yeah, I used to live on this side of the bridge. But this is where Andrew Fawcett and Sam Fillmore will be rubbing their hands together, because, of course, they'll be able to sniff blood in the water here, and they might actually be able to, you know, sort of sneak that second place away. So that's what they'll be hoping to do.
2 cars side by side in the same garage. Now here they are having their own team race. So the battle of the GTAs out in front, the top 3. It's Glenn Smith, number 1, and Chris Vanderdrift in that beautiful McLaren 650S, just streamlining up and over the top here at Hampton Downs.
So currently the Fawcett Fillmore car is running now about 2 seconds a lap faster. They're both on the same lap, but they're separated by quite a big margin. But they're 2 seconds a lap faster. So the Alex Rivera's car is consistently doing sort of 105s now, it looks like. So an interesting finish, aren't we? With
this McLaren has got still 3 laps in front.
Yes.
3 laps in front of Alex Rivera and Darren Kelly.
But still has a stop to go. So that'll ease
I
up.
think Darren said they could go to the finish.
In the McLaren?
Yep, no. Certainly in the Vantage, the Aston Martin.
Yes, but the Glenn Smith car still got
one slap and dash, is it?
Yes.
And will they do a driver change or leave? Is it either Glenn Smith and Chris Vanderdrift away, the top drivers?
Yes.
They'll probably leave Chris in there if he's in there.
I would imagine so. Yep. So this is
so that could bring us back into a nice little wee finish towards the end of this race.
Well, it could do. So with the front car coming back, Andrew Fawcett's car, the Audi there catching up, and Alex slightly wounded, it seems.
And the track conditions now is just starting to cool off again, getting a bit more similar to what it was at the start of the race. Had a nice little sunny hot period there around about that 3 o'clock zone, getting into that sort of 3 to 4 zone. And then now, of course, you get the evening twilight coming in. And just cooling down around about 13 degrees, so that will change the performance of the cars as well too.
Yeah, good conditions for the turbos, of course. They love the cooler air, so the McLaren will be loving that.
Tyres as well.
Yep, yeah, it's sort of less UV on the tracks, and the tyres will last longer. So that's going to help a couple of the cars out there. Not so good for the Audi that we've got on screen there. That's a naturally aspirated V10. So no great advantage when the air cools down for them as much as the turbos have anyway.
So Andrew Fawcett doing a good job now, just circulating in that beautiful Audi, currently dominating that battle for 3rd place and trying to put as much time as he can on the teammate and the Aston Martin. So they've done 112 laps, so they're both on the same lap. And 103, 105, so about a second quicker at the moment, the Aston Martin.
Here's the McLaren coming up and down through the Porsche dipper. These are the ones I think are going to have an extra stop to do still.
They've done a 102 the last lap, and their best lap is a 101. So they've been very, very consistent with their lap times around about that 103. And if Chris is behind the wheel, he knows he can push it to a 102. How long do they have to go? When do they have to come in and do the splash and dash? The answer's right there, right now.
There you go.
There we go.
But they have got 3 laps.
And let's keep an eye out where the Aston Martin is. So we'll find out where that one is, and then they may pick up a lap here. And how long will this take? So into the pits.
There's the fuel.
There's the dash with the fuel.
Should see if they're going to do a driver change.
No
here.
driver change. So I would suspect it's going to be Chris van der Drift who's going to stay in there and try and bring it home to the finish. 117 laps they've done coming into this pit, and then it's going to be 113 for the Aston Martin.
Yes.
So they've done their splash and dash, and they're going to put on some fresh rubber.
This is what we were explaining before about not having too many crew on the car at once. It makes the pit stop certainly a lot slower. And that's where the really front-running cars that have got to do the splash and dash. They're a bit of a disadvantage as opposed to something like that TCR car that could have just done one stop. So unfortunately it didn't last long enough to be able to play into the game.
Event promoter Jeff Short keeping an eye on things and just watching in the background.
He did the 1 hour earlier, didn't he, of course, in his Porsche GT3 Cup car.
So they've got the gun. On goes the rubber, and the other car, the Aston Martin, has done another lap in that meantime, so they're up to 114 laps. So away it goes. Are we set now for the run home, the big long sprint to the finish?
So they're going to go out still, I think, with at least a lap ahead, possibly even 2. So we'll see how that cleanses once it all filters through when they get out.
Then there'll be a couple of laps, and now they're both just going to get their tyres up to temperature, get back up to speed, and then we'll have a better idea exactly where we are in the race and how it's going to time out. So Van der Drift and Alex Rivera, McLaren versus Aston Martin. So this is the endurance. It's an endurance for everyone involved, the officials, all the TV crew as well, all the race drivers, all the race crews, and all the volunteers. Been a long day, been a long race, but now it's all about refocus, reset, and get that air of anticipation about who's going to bring it home to the finish. Hopefully we can have a good race. DT was just saying there was a red wire there that was hooked onto the car. What was that for?
Yeah, just an earth wire. It's one of the just to, like they do with the planes, basically when they refuel, just to stop any sparks earthing down to the ground and igniting fuel. So just a safety thing they do these days.
So 118 laps, and the Rivera's car in second place is 116, Fawcett's 116. So 2 laps advantage, and there's about an hour to go?
Yeah, there's about 48 minutes to go. Oh, look at that. Now there's that car that Simon Evans is driving, that red Commodore. Yeah, you can see the body lean on it with that broken front sway bar. Quite amazing. Well picked there earlier on.
The drum of, the drums are beating for the Subaru there.
But interesting enough, and if you go back to this, we've sort of been talking a lot about first, second and third. Which is,
these guys have just been doing their own little thing, a private race. They'll be probably on target for another class win and doing a great job in that little wee Subaru BRZ. And just circulating in pretty good time too. Jeff and Robert Drum, I think Jeff behind the wheel now, he's been doing 123. The best lap was a 118, and they're in 12th place.
Yeah, but interesting enough, they're 25 laps behind, so they've had to watch the leaders go past 25 times. A little bit disconcerting, a little bit, slightly bit of difference in pace, but it's probably very close to a road car by the looks of it.
Second in class 3 at the moment, so they're 4 laps behind the father and son combo of Marnie McCullough and Matt McCullough. So, but they're doing their own thing, aren't they? They're out there doing the race and having a good time, which is great.
Yeah, great track time. So in 4th and 5th place, of course, we've got Matt Dovey and John O'Leston. They're still circulating at a good pace. They're still doing, 105s, 106s, which is good. Aaron Slight is still in 5th place. They've eased back a bit though. They're sort of doing 10s and 11s now, so I don't know whether they've got a slight issue there. They can do that 8s and 7s and 8s. So there's their battle there.
It's going to be an intriguing battle out in front because Dovey's doing a good job here. Was it Jono Lester? Jono check. And they're currently in that 4th spot, but the lead car's just done a 101.8. So that number 1 McLaren has just gone out there on fresh rubber and refueled to the finish and just clocked a 101. So 61 seconds versus around about 63.4 for the Aston Martin. So they've got 2-lap advantage and a couple of seconds per lap on track. So they're building a good lead at the moment. And it looked unsurmountable when you thought about the great start that the Aston Martin Vantage had. A big advantage.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the Aston is doing 103, so it's got a little better than it was. It was doing, remember, we're talking about 105s. So it's picked up the pace. It's obviously whatever it is. Maybe it's starting to get used to it. It's not quite as taily coming out, isn't it? It'll be interesting to hear at the end of the race what that was all about.
It's done a 104, 101.207, so that's the fastest lap of the race, done by number 1, Chris van der Drift, teaming up with Glenn Smith.
So he's, there's no fuel issues now, is there?
So they're fueled to the finish and they're fast to the finish.
Yeah.
So this is no longer just an endurance race, this is turning into the 45-minute sprint race, bring it home.
And this is where it's quite fun to show your team what the car will do, because you've got to bring it back safely, but the traffic is pretty light now. But you can start thinking, right, let's really crank out some hot laps here and show the team how quick the car can be. It's always a good feeling if you get the fastest lap out of the 2 drivers. Well, it's nice to claim that one. So there's the Aston again, just going past us now, and that was a sort of high 104. So it's still not as quick as it was going earlier in the day. That's for sure. He's well off the pace.
Well, their best lap was a 101.9, so they would certainly be on a similar race pace as the lead car at the moment. They were scratching their heads, bit of a huddle going along in their bubble.
And that's what he needed to be able to do. He needed to be able to go out and do those 101s and try and wind back some of that lap there. But it's going to be a difficult job doing 104s and 105s, isn't it?
Certainly is. We'll just check with Adam too to see if that was Matt Dovey behind the wheel of the 80 car, or was it John O'Lester?
It sounds like it's Jono back in the car there. Jono will be absolutely reveling in this, being able to get out on the racetrack after so long. As you say, we said before, stuck in New Zealand, not being able to go racing anywhere. All the opportunities that would have been coming up, all the doors have closed in the short term anyway, waiting for things to spring back into action.
And being a driver like him, he said, well, why are you not in the garage? I'm a racing driver.
Yeah, it's pacing around the place.
And you see the white light, which would actually show it's the main driver in the car. On that front windscreen on the right-hand side, the left-hand side of the screen. They should be able to... I think the teams...
Green light, isn't it?
Green light. The teams can see it, but it's very hard on the actual telecast here. These cars are going so quick.
So lap 123, we're expecting about 150 laps. Down to about 40 minutes to go.
3 wide as they work their way through the field, and
3 of the heavyweights.
Yeah. An Audi, a McLaren, and 2 Audis and a McLaren. So it's a McLaren getting out of the Audi sandwich here.
So a 4-litre twin turbo versus V10 naturally aspirated. Not a lot of difference in straight line speed.
And then an LS7 Chevy with an Audi body.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this class.
Sorry, the McLaren's just carrying the speed better, isn't it? Mid-corner speed is just up. It's just flowing that better.
I think race pace, we're actually getting really good now. That Aston Martin is coming back down to the 102s. So Alex Rivera has got a 102.6 in the last lap. He's getting that speed back up in that car. So if they had an issue, perhaps the team have relayed what they've got to do. They may have made a few adjustments in car, and they're certainly a couple of seconds quicker than what they were a few laps ago, which is good.
All of a sudden, he's got the bit there between his teeth, and obviously whatever it is just coming right. It was bizarre that the way it was sort of oversteering, wasn't it? Quite a bit.
The speed wobbles.
Looked very unstable, yeah. Mustang been given the blue flag there, which just means that there's a faster car coming through that's going to lap you. They don't show that blue flag if there's two cars racing, of course. It's only shown if one's moving through the field and overtaking through lapping or something like that. There's the Connell Dempsey car that we haven't seen much of lately. See, where has he got to? He's dropped down and down. They must have come back in, I guess, for another problem because he's not really showing in the results very well here.
The last lap for the Aston Martin Vantage with Alex Rivera behind the wheels. Was a 1:03, so the Spanish Stars got this car sort of going better, but still not quite as quick. A 1:02.1 there for Chris Vanderdrift. Best time still a 1:01.2, so he's had a couple of quick laps on that fresh rubber, now settling down to the 62s, and the Aston Martin doing the 63s. Connell Dempsey back out there. Good to see him racing.
Yeah,
and John Penny.
It's going well too. You can see plenty of straight line speed there, so whatever issue it had, looks like they've sorted that out, but a little lack of incentive when you've lost so many laps in the pits, isn't there, to really put your head down and get going.
Headlights are on as we get to the golden hour. Dancing in the dusk. Here they are. You can see that light silhouetting over the back of the Hampton Downs track. As the McLaren swoops around the race lap hairpin there. Ducks out from behind the BMW 150 diesel. Connell Dempsey still he's going now. He's good.
He is going well, isn't he? Yeah. It's good lap times, good pace. So it could be John Penny, I think, in that car having a run. He was the co-driver there. So it's, as I say, often the way if you have a mechanical issue, the main driver say, look, you step in and you get your money's worth here. Basically, have some fun rather than just sitting in the garage disappointed. So I'm sure there's John Penny in there having a run. As I say, very experienced driver.
Nicknamed JP, great colourful character.
So you can see how blind that turn one is. That's
a great turn, isn't it? It's one of the iconic turns. Probably there's three here, isn't there? There's certainly the Porsche Dipper.
Yep.
There's certainly the sweeper, which is all about your exit speed, which is crucial for a fast lap, and then the blind sort of off-camber corner going around turn one. Don't run wide onto the grass.
So here the Aston's coming up to the one you were talking about, the Porsche Dipper. So you can see there again, it's blind. You can't see a thing. If you brake at the top of that, the car gets all light. And there's not a lot of room to stop it, so you're always going to make sure you brake it while you've got the force of that, while you're still going up the hill.
So let's look at the speed advantage here. This is the battle between first and second. It's second and first on the track at the moment. That means the Aston Martin is currently second and a couple of laps behind the McLaren, and the McLaren looks like he's about to lap second place and take the speed advantage away from the Aston Martin advantage. So that McLaren has got some serious wheels.
Well, he's still doing the same sort of lap times that they started with. So whereas the McLaren's dropped, so the second car's dropped off a couple of bits. Oh look, here we are, splash and dash for the GT4.
That's Aaron Slight's 111 car teamed up with Greg Brink. So Vanderdrift a 1:02.3 in that last lap, and they've still got a 2-lap advantage.
So that car currently we're watching at the moment is the 6th place, 6th overall. He's and they're 11 laps behind the lead, but they will be certainly a class winner, being a GT4 car.
So the various classes at the moment, Class A is currently being dominated by the Stars out in front, Glenn Smith and Chris Vanderdrift in the McLaren. That's the GTA class. Class B has been dominated by Lance Hughes and Simon Evans. Are they back out on track?
Let's have a look. Yes, they're in 5th place overall,
which is good.
Yeah,
good. They've had their dramas. They've had their brake dramas and the old sway thing, so that's been tweaked.
So they've just moved ahead, in fact, of Aaron Slight while he's in the pits there. So
that's a class battle to watch out for. Class 1, Matt Dovey and John O'Lester in front of Bernard Verright and Glenn Chappell in the BMW diesel, the 150. The Class 3 battle is still being won by the father and son combo of the McCullers over the Drum brothers.
So obviously that braking issue sorted itself out. Now all he's got to deal with is the bad handling, I suppose, of having a broken sway bar.
So here they are, the Class B battle. And it's Aaron Slight and Simon Evans.
So a lap advantage now because of that last minute pit stop to the car, the red Commodore. You can see on screen. Look at that, lifting that. It's amazing how much a sway bar does, doesn't it?
So if that sway bar was working properly, it would actually bring that front left down.
It's twisting, and obviously if you soften up your front dramatically like that, you'll be getting, so right now he'll be getting understeer, which means the front tyres are just pushing towards the exit. So you've got to slow your entry speed down more, or try and keep the brakes on long to try and keep that understeer under control. In a situation like we see right now, it'll be frustrating too. It'll be killing his exit from there, because he'll be trying to get that understeer under control. And all you can do is just slow your mid-corner speed down. You just got to go slower. That's about what it boils down to. And try and brake into the corner without upsetting the rear. You've got to try and steer it into the corner under the brakes. So trail braking deeper than you normally would if the car was balanced properly. But he's doing a good job. I mean, Simon is he's experienced enough to be able to adapt and overcome an issue like that.
Well, just having a bit of a chuckle to myself. I mean, this is the guy who's locked up in quarantine for 2 weeks. So for Simon Evans being a motor racing champion, this is heaven. This is great. This is what I'm born to do. He doesn't care about the state of the race and where we are. I'm just on a racetrack in a cool V8, going as fast as I can for as long as I can, and I've still got 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it's certainly better than sitting at home watching it on TV, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're in the hot seat.
Yeah.
And more lap time and speed time and just circulating in an event like this is so good for just being dialed in, and it's much better than doing e-racing, as we talked about before as well.
Oh, yes.
Don't worry, I practice on e-bikes.
Everything else is a substitute. What they say that racing is real life. It really is. It's real adrenaline.
Well, it's a reality TV show, isn't it? It's the best form of reality TV you can get, because nothing's scripted, nothing's, you've got a plan, you can prepare, but you've always got to go for the unexpected.
Improv.
Yep.
Yeah. There's the little diesel BMW. So still going strongly, even though they've had a few issues, haven't they? Trying to adapt to the engine change, a few little things that pour some oil in it. They're saying it's a bit more difficult to drive. It's got a much narrower power band than it did with the twin turbos. It's only 3.5 to about 5, so very narrow. So you're busy changing gear, trying to just keep it running in that power band all the time.
And when you've got a car that's got, say, paddle shift compared to, say, like a dog box or like a 6, what's the difference there in the speed of your changes and what you could pick up, per lap or what?
Well, look, that's why, for example, all the road cars now have gone to all those paddle shifts, because it's just simply faster. Even flat shifting, I don't know if you've got a manual gearbox, the old H-pattern gearbox, 5-speed or 6-speed, even flat shifting, which means just pulling the gear lever through with your foot still hard on the gas, that's worth about 1/4 second a lap, just that. So
with that dog box, you've got to pull it back and you can let the lever go to make sure it stays in gear.
Yeah, that's the second most efficient one. But
you can be aggressive with them, they can.
Oh, yes.
You've got to be.
You have to be. Yeah, you did right.
Be the boss.
Well, you've had a go in a.
Well, that was the thing I kept, and when we were talking about it, it was just about pulling it back, and then, sometimes you leave your hand on the lever. You can't.
Yep.
All
your bad habits.
Murray was saying that's a bad habit, Brady. Just change it, let it go. Change it, let it go. But be aggressive.
Get your hand back on the wheel. Get your hand off it.
Yep. Make the change and back on the wheel.
And here's the boys from Hawke's Bay. They've had a good run today, haven't they?
And then you get the paddle shift, like even in the road car of the Toyota 86, and that's just so much fun. But if you say to people, if you're going to use the paddle shift, you've got to drive it like Lewis Hamilton, in and out, use your gears, just like the old days. You'd use your gears to slow yourself down, scrub off some speed rather than just going hard on the brakes. You use those gears and then get the right gear coming out. Man, great fun.
The irony is the really good, fast, expensive road cars with the new gearboxes, the paddle shift gearboxes, around the track, around Hampton Downs and places like that, you can let them do all the work themselves, and they always do it perfectly. Here's Hughes coming in, or Simon coming in the Hughes car.
Maybe just for fuel?
I would say this is just the last splash and dash with.
And you were saying about the pedal shifts around here?
Yes. So oh no, he's in the garage. That's a real shame. Yeah. So going quickly back, they always change at exactly the right time. whereas when you're doing it, it varies a wee bit. Sometimes you pull the lever a fraction early, a fraction late, whereas the car will do it perfectly on time every time. So,
well, it's a bit like getting used to doing dynamic radar cruise control at the moment, where the
Yes.
speed of the car driving is always, even though you set it for 100k on the motorway, the speed of the car is going to be totally different if you're driving it yourself. So obviously the brake issue again.
This time the other side. Yeah. So I'd imagine, as you say, Clint, the same problem, but on the other side. So this time you can see the big clamps coming out, trying to drag open those calipers, get the piston back in so they can get those pads out of there.
But it's that balance between getting the best out of the machinery and the technology, but also the drivability of the driver, the person behind the wheel as well, and that mix, and then the right team to give you a good car with the confidence to go fast.
Yep, and also the other thing is, I don't know if this car has done a 3-hour race before, has it? I know these guys certainly have.
This car has.
So yeah,
would have done it last year. They would have set this up.
So you'd think they would have the brake issue sorted, wouldn't you?
Oh, it's just one of those things, perhaps, as we talked about. That they've had the same preparation time. Probably, it's been a longer break between racing than what they would have had last time. We'll see what Adam can do and see what the latest is pit side.
Broken rear sway bar. What's happened now?
The same brake issue as what we had before. The rotor's coming off the hub, so not a nice feeling when you're out there having the rotor come off. It's a integral part of the car, so the same issue twice. So yeah, we'll see if we go back out again.
Talk about the commentator's curse there. I was just saying, wasn't I, Clint, what a great run these guys from Hawke's Bay are having. And there they are, parked with the door open. Safety car, oh no, it's double yellow at this stage. They may be able to push that back behind the fence, which would be stop the safety car coming out.
So they might just get the safety car out to bunch up the field, though, just to bring us home, as you may do.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? It might help further down the track, but you've got a few guys. You got Lance. Well, yeah, he was on the same lap as Lance Hughes and Simon Taylor and Aaron Slight. So Aaron Slight will be going past that thinking, oh, there's another spot for me. I'm going to move up one. So I know it's a terrible thing when you're racing, but you see a guy stricken on the side. So there's Aaron going past now. He just made up a place past the stricken Porsche.
So out of the race, Connell Dempsey.
All right, so we're getting Simon back in that car. He's going to go out and try and finish this race by the looks of it. It's a fairly quick change. But as I was saying, it's a terrible side of human nature when you're racing and you see your competitor parked on the side of the road. You think, oh, good. Don't feel sorry for them. You think, yay, it's another place for me.
Yeah, well, you guys are being the old sort of the rule of sort of wear and tear. The more you race, the more that some people are going to fall off the pace.
Yep.
Other people are going to be able to hang in there.
Could easily be you too.
And that's exactly, yeah. And you're just so relieved to be able to still be out there racing. It's a bit like the guys who've had trouble and they've got their cars back out on the track. So if you look at that war of attrition, Shane Holland, Trevor Strong, Gene Rollinson, Rick Cooper, Shane Helms, Connell Dempsey, all out along with their co-drivers.
Boy, that's a big list, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a couple of Porsches in there. There's a Ford Mustang in there as well. There's an Audi TT in there as well. So plenty of different manufacturers have had a bit of bad luck today. But that's what endurance racing is all about. It's all about, going the distance and can you keep it on the track and how long you could keep it on the track.
And as we said earlier, that's some unexpected cars there. The Audi TT, the Porsche that's just stopped, particularly the Honda. The Honda. Gosh. All of those cars I wouldn't have picked to have issues. So still just a double yellow, not a safety car at this stage. Oh, now it's just clicked over to safety car. So we're going to flick over to that. And
so what's our race situation at the moment?
Well,
in the 3-hour enduro in the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series.
2 hours 34 have elapsed, lap 38. So we're down to the last 20 minutes, aren't we, by the time this gets cleared up.
This will chew up a bit more time.
Yeah, so it'll be 5 or 6 minutes.
Block up the field, bunch them up a bit. Give the drivers a chance to see where they're at. chance for the crew chiefs to have a bit of a chat to update the race situation for the drivers.
Just had a note from one of the spectators. Actually, Racing Ray Williams has just sent me a message just saying he was watching the Simon Evans car glowing, the wheel, the brakes just glowing, set through the wheel. So it's obviously shouldn't be doing that on a regular basis. He's had issues for a while. So thank you for that, Racing Ray.
Always one of the great guys to be enjoying life on the other side of the track.
Probably got a glass of something in his hand.
Yes, exactly.
Enjoying it, relaxing.
Good man.
With Katie up there.
Good Porsche man.
Yeah.
Very good racing driving instructor and motor racing mentor and coach too. So had a great day with him and Mark Scafer, the Nissan Sentras many years ago at Mansfield.
Yes,
Whole day of just learning how to go motor racing faster than Nissan with Racing Ray Williams and gentleman Jim Richards and Mark Scafe. Great day. One of the highlights of just hands-on motor racing for me. And then you go down to the Wellington Street race. Great stuff.
What a thrill. Great memories. Yeah, well, Ray is every bit as fast as he was then. He's still absolutely on the pace. He's a 10/10ths man everywhere he goes.
Yep.
Still a great instructor. A very, very popular man around here, of course.
And in this sort of situation, say, doesn't matter. Hey, it doesn't matter.
You've been peeping through his bathroom window again, have you?
You go figure, your bad luck. End of the day, no, it doesn't matter.
That's him. Yeah, very true, very true. But yes, he'll be wishing he was out there and something. I know he's very keen to run a TA2, which is the new Mustang Camaro bodied cars. He'd love to have a crack in those.
Oh, good on him. That would be awesome.
So wouldn't it be great to see him do that? He'd brighten them up a bit.
Well, he doesn't have very far to go and walk to actually check them out because they've actually got the team over there building the TA2s and the Mustangs up here in Hampton Downs.
He's been out there kicking the tyres.
So that's probably the reason why. Neighbourhood watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Wandered down from the apartment.
He's like one of those puppies that hang around there, hoping that someone will
doing
throw him a drive.
What are they doing with the TRS cars? What are they doing with the FTC? Oh, look at these big Mustangs.
Yeah.
I could belt that around this track and show you how to do it. So this is a very unfortunate side as we get the Speedworks Hilux towing a Porsche back to the pits. Recovery guys have done a great job. Once again, our thanks to all the officials, all the volunteers, all the car club members who have been itching to get back out on track due to the COVID delays and the lockdown, the showdown out of lockdown, and bad luck for Phil Blythe and Rob Williams, number 24, the Apple Inn.
So
the Apple Inn has come in, unfortunately.
So now that these guys are in the pits, we've got the safety car still out there. He'll cruise around, probably follow them into the pits depending on the timing. And then we've got Glenn Smith out there, and that car was still a 2-lap advantage.
So they're on target to do the double.
Exactly.
Glenn Smith, Chris van der Drift, and the number 1 McLaren, backing up the efforts of the black and white McLaren and John de Veth.
Yep, John de Veth in the 1-hour race.
We'll have to call him Glenn van der Smith, John van der Death, and Chris van der Drift, the Van der Brothers.
Getting a bit lightheaded after 3 hours of talking there, Clint. All right, so safety car will come around in this lap. And then, so the battle is really going to be between Alex and...
look at this.
Another commentator's curse.
The BMW 635 of Glenn Chappell and Sean Varney.
What a shame.
The old diesel.
Good to have such a unique car out there too, wasn't it? The little diesel running around then.
Did have a few issues earlier in the race they were talking about, but just hasn't quite come home to the finish here.
Yeah, what a pity. Lots of torque. They were saying, did you hear earlier on, they were saying 800 Newton meters of torque. Phenomenal power out of that little diesel. It's real
What have we got? 12 cars out there on track at the moment? No, down to 11 now with Glenn Chappell coming in. He was up. Yeah, they were in 8th place, and Rob Williams was in 9th place. So 2 more cars back out, not out on the track. So the safety car is off. We're ready to go. Hopefully, bring it home to the finish. Still, the lights are flashing. Will we go green? Yes, we will. McLaren, Aston Martin, BMW, Audi, Porsche, Honda,
So the race now obviously is going to be between the Aston Martin in second place and the Audi in third place there, really. They're both on the same lap. So that's the battle. So obviously the car out front, the McLaren out the front's got a huge advantage. You can just cruise. If those cars pass them even, you're still going to win the race. So it's the battle is behind there with these two cars that are on screen right there.
So will it be the Aston Martin or will it be the Audi? They're both on 140 laps. The last time they went around under the safety car, you can't get a gauge on that. So let's see what they're going to be like with their lap speed under green.
We suspect that the Aston is just slightly wounded. We don't really know, do we? There's an issue there somewhere along the line before. It's still not back up to its full pace. So it's a matter of whether he can just stretch in front of that Audi long enough to hold him off. So it's going to be tense. Now we've just hit the 2:40 mark, so 20 minutes to go.
Aston Martin currently in second spot, and right behind them is the Audi in third, both from the same team, both in the same garage, but different drivers, different reasons to go racing, different reasons to win and stay out there on the track.
Yeah, you're dead right there. They may be in the same garage with the same management, but boy, the desire to win is just as strong in either team. So look at that Audi, just he's actually closed that gap a fraction down there. I don't know whether that's a handling issue. It doesn't seem to be a power issue at the Aston, does it? Seems to have plenty of straight line power.
And the BMW, the Porsche right behind.
Yes, that's he's out of the picture in terms of position. He's way down, but obviously he's got the pace now to keep up with these guys. That's the Connell Dempsey car, but out of position.
So that's still Connell Dempsey and JP back out there.
Yeah, but not in the race winning mode, but they can still match them on lap times and things, of course.
So still way down on that race. They were out, so good to see them. They've been back out, just down in about the 110 laps. So just clocked over 100 laps for those guys, which is good. Still circulating, which is great.
I'm getting a bit tired there because these guys, of course, have done a longer stint. Even though they stopped for fuel, which gives them a little bit of a break, doesn't it? It's a slight rest, but they've still. The Audis, look at that.
Just when the Aston Martin looks like it's getting an advantage, the Audi comes back, doesn't he? So a great battle between Alex Rivera and the Aston Martin and Andrew Fawcett.
So
Andrew and Alex having their own private team battle.
Yeah, so last laps there, the Aston 104.1 versus 103.4 for the Audi. So he's just got a half a second advantage. Depends how consistent he can do that. If he can do it consistently, you'll get past, won't he? Look at that, having a look down the inside.
Having a late lunge around Pirelli, turn
look
one.
At that.
Drifts it into the path of Alex, who says, okay, mate, you've got that speed. And Andrew Fawcett forces his way into second spot.
Well done, he did that. It's not showing on the timing yet because he did that after the start-finish line. It'll show up next time round. But he'll be delighted about that. So move from third to second. But of course the next car back, so the Aston has got third place pretty much sewn up, even if he doesn't try too hard here. Because the Matt Dovey, Jono Lester car is the next one back, but they're a further 6 laps back. So these guys have just got to keep this. Even then, do you see that little Aston, that little bobble coming out of there? It doesn't look right. Something's broken in the rear or something of that, I reckon.
It just doesn't look as settled as it was and specced up at the start of the race.
And it's at least 2-3 seconds off the pace. So it's just not right. And we'll no doubt find out much later what's going on there.
One of those annoying little wee parts.
Well, it could even be something similar to the Holden. It could be a broken sway bar link or something like that. Very easy to do. So that could also be why it sparked as it went out. It just dropped suspension on one side a little bit. Who knows? It just makes it so much harder to drive, doesn't it, when something's not right?
Just makes a long challenge even harder.
Oh, look, it does. And especially at this stage of the game. You've been in the car for a long time. You're getting hot and tired.
But then the attitude is just, bring it home. And then look towards the next round. Obviously, they'll be going down. I think they're probably doing the South Island Series again.
Actually, that's an interesting point because this car was on the South Island, had to be very quickly brought back up, didn't it? So whether it's going to whip back down there and then it's got to come back up to Pukekohe for the next round.
Then down to Highlands for the the final round of the Nationals.
Yep. So bit of travelling.
So it's still got work to do, so if there is a minor issue, they'll maybe be mindful of that. Here's the old McCullough car out there doing their own thing.
So the Andrew Fawcett, Sam Fillmore car just gradually stretching out now, isn't it?
Good to see the Dempsey Wood car of Connell Dempsey and JP, number 12.
Yeah.
The Porsche back to knowing what it can do.
It looks 100% now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it's all got the lights blazing in the golden hour now in the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series.
Shooting big flames out the back. Not as spectacular as that 1 hour car we're watching, the Duffy RX-7. Massive flames out the back of that.
But you can see how the manufacturers have got so much power in the rear. The likes of the Aston Martin, the Porsche here like this. And even you see in some of your everyday road cars now, the width of the rear tyres, the rear boot. Even little Corollas
Massive.
now have got a really good solid sort of launching pair, even though they're front wheel drive.
Yeah, and it just gives them so much stopping power and stability, doesn't it? Even, as you say, little Corollas, little main guys, those things, compared to what they were 10 years ago, and the little skinny tyres on them. But yeah, good looking car that, isn't it? It's quite, as I say, quite modified here in New Zealand by Peter at Motor Science. It's been very, very changed from how it came out of the factory. And he'll be disappointed that they're not further up at the sharp end today.
88.
A bit of a whack in the door there by the looks of it, isn't it? And that passenger
Matt
side
McCullough,
door.
the son, he'll be enjoying his drive.
See the door as he goes past. There's a little bit of a ding in the side there. I wonder if it just clunked another car as it went through at some point. Highly likely with all that traffic out there earlier.
John O'Lester coming around in the Matt Dovey number 18 Audi, this hybrid with an LS7 Chevy motor.
So he needs someone
and
to
a
break
lot of
down.
work they've been working on that car for over a year, haven't they, to get it on the track? So they'll be pleased here to go the distance. I mean, you look at what, the speed and that sort of jazz, but they've actually got it going, and to get it right to the finish after 3 hours and get it going quickly is a credit to the effort in the team.
Yeah, no, look, it's, I mean, he's in 4th place, 4th overall, so phenomenal effort, really. He just needs something to go wrong with those 3 cars up in the front, and then he's on the podium. But yeah, it's a good looking car, isn't it? Something a bit different out there too, isn't it?
So he's done 140 laps, and he's got a class lead over Bernard Verreit in the Ford Mustang of about 4 laps, so they'll pick up a class win. Well, Jono will go home with another little trophy, perhaps.
Yeah, true. Yep, Matt Dovey will be happy. Good trophy to have in a new car, class win, isn't it? Brand new
And
car.
also Dad Dovey will be happy as well, being one of the driving forces behind the North Island Endurance Series as well. So much work going into the development of this Audi.
Interesting story looking at the front of that car. He was telling us, wasn't he, about it had a fiberglass front air down on it. The whole front was all fiberglass. It generates so much downforce at the front that it broke and split and came off. So it's now had to redo it all in carbon fibre, which is a huge expense compared to fiberglass.
The cost of maintaining these cars would be big too.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Yeah, it's massive. I mean, a lot of the crew there are being paid for these, these top level, because they're doing a lot of travelling away from home all the weekend, paying an engineer or something. So something's quite common. So yeah, not a cheap thing. So that's for sure.
It's a sport of passion and love,
Yeah.
and big money, big bucks,
Smaller-
and horsepower.
Smaller teams, of course, it's all volunteers. They're all just giving up their own time, but you're doing a lot of it. So somebody's just coming into the pits just in the background there. Just noticed that.
But this McLaren has been really, really well prepared by the team. They do an excellent job.
Done a lot of racing this car. It's oh no, what are we doing today here? Talk about a commentator's curse there. Just talking about how well that was going, and good to see it back on track and all that sort of thing. He's limping back into the pits. So Peter there at Motor Science won't be happy to see that back again. So
Will they still have time to get it back out on track? Might be, 10 minutes to go?
yeah, we've got 11 minutes to go at the moment. So hopefully they'll just get it run, just so he can finish anyway, which would be good for him. So let's just recap very quickly with 10 minutes to go. We've got Glenn Smith and the car, the McLaren we've just seen out the front there, Andrew Fawcett in the Audi, and then we've got the Aston Martin in third, and then we've got the Matt Dovey, John O'Lester car in fourth, and then the Verrett Bernard car there in fifth, and then the Aston Martin, the GT4 Aston Martin of Aaron Slight and Greg Brink in sixth place. And believe it or not, still in seventh is Lance Hughes and Simon Evans.
Even with the brake issues, they've turned out to be unbreakable as John Penny, JP, gets out of the car. He's done his best. He's had a huge day. You can see the amount of sweat he's been putting in there.
Blood, sweat and tears. He's obviously, looks pretty terminal if he's jumping in. I can't see Conal Dempsey jumping in, so it doesn't look good, does it?
So disappointment there, but not for these guys. Lance Hughes back out on track after Simon Evans came in and they decided to work on those brakes. So Lance, he's a great character from Hamilton Asphalt and Hamilton Motorsport, doing a really good job.
And he'll be getting good feedback from Simon too about the car and what can be done with it. And also, I mean, it's a little bit hard to analyse it too much with the broken sway bar, of course. It'll be hard to know what it's doing.
They may be moving towards the Mustangs or the Corvettes.
True. Yep.
Perhaps in the TA2 class. There's Conal Dempsey and JP, the two drivers behind this team. Dempsey Wood and the number 51 Porsche.
Conal will be disappointed. I'm sure he wants to finish like everybody else. You don't start these races to end up in the garage, do you? That's for sure.
153 laps for our leader, and the last guys have done 122 laps. So we've been racing for just on 2 o'clock this afternoon. They let loose, and now we're coming up after 5 o'clock, so probably around about just another 5 or 7, 8 minutes to go.
Yep. And still, obviously, Glenn Smith at the front there, and doing 102s very, very comfortably.
Let's go down to the pits and catch up with Adam.
And we've come in and changed the axle, but it looks like we've done another one. So the guys have got the a bit more horsepower in the car, but we've found the weak link now. It seems to be the axles. So yeah, 2 axles in under 3 hours isn't a good way to finish a race, really.
And really quite disappointing because you're so close to the end.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it is. You do all that work, and I mean, we're only racing for chocolate fish anyway, but it'd be nice to sort of finish the race. So it is a bit of a shame. Shame for the guys too, because they've worked so hard, and you know they changed that axle in probably 30 minutes. So they did a really good job to get us back out there. It's a shame that we couldn't really finish for, you know.
And so we're going to see you at the next round, obviously.
Yeah, we're going to do Pukekohe, and then hopefully head down south and for what is it? The final round, the New Zealand round. That's our goal anyway, is to head down there. So obviously we've got to sort these issues out with the car. We don't want to go all that way and have these issues down there. So in a way it's a bit of a shakedown. So we've still got another round to qualify, and that's our goal, is to go down there and do really well in the New Zealand round.
Well, we're coming down to the wire now, so the race is wrapping up, and we'll go back out on the track for the final 5 odd minutes.
So there you have it, the ever-changing faces and fortunes of endurance racing, between the likes of guys out on the front and then the guys stuck in the garage and they just can't get that car to go, or they've got a mechanical problem, so disappointment for that team. But these guys have still got that run home to the finish. Aaron Slight back behind the wheel of the 111 Aston Martin GT4. You got Jeff Drum and Robert Drum in the 46 Subaru BZR, the BRZ. So they're having a good day. They're just trying to circulate and bring it home. This Aston's had a few issues, but they're doing a good job here. Aaron Slight doing a great job. The Superbike star, legend of Kiwi biking, and now enjoying his car. 8 years since back in the hot seat, and doing a great job with the 111 car. And they're currently in that beautiful Aston Martin in 6th place in Class D, on target for a class win there.
Yeah, 6th place overall, so nice work. Sorry, they had some dramas there.
And right behind in front of them is Bernard Varight in the Ford Mustang. 4:45. They've had a very consistent day. So this is great for Aaron Slight, just to get out there and go motor racing. Get out of lockdown and come up here and just hammer and tongs and away you go.
Oh, I think it's brilliant. It's great to see such a great personality back. As I say, he's probably the most famous person here.
And right behind him is the car that's just in front of him on the track at the moment. Class 1, Bernard Varight, and teamed up with Steve Taylor, so they've had a really good performance in that well-prepared Ford Mustang. Currently on target for a finish here in the 3-hour race.
These are the cars that I know well, Clint. They're heavy and hot inside there, but they're pretty strong. They usually, now we've said that, of course, we've put the curse on him, but they keep on trucking. They're fast in a straight line, which is always good. They're sort of 500 horsepower. And here we go to the 4th place. 4th place now.
John O'Lester and Matt Dovey in the number 80 Audi with the Chevy power, and doing a good job with this hybrid car. Bits of it, bits of that, and the good thing is bit of the track. So
and brand new, isn't it, too? Yeah. Only just finished, really. A little bit of testing at Taupo.
So in many ways, this is more of a shakedown for them.
Yeah. Well, they'll be delighted. I mean, they did have an issue, but they'll be delighted with how they got on, really. I mean, 4th overall is pretty spectacular for that car.
Back in 3rd spot, it started by leading after the first corner, the first lap, built up a huge lead, but after the stint and a couple of changeovers, two pit stops, not quite the same car when it came out for the final stint as it laid down the rubber for the first stint. That beautiful Aston Martin Vantage, the harder racing car, driven by Alex Rivera and Darren Kelly, in 3rd spot at the moment, and they're still at the same lap time as Andrew Fawcett and the other team in the Audi, same laps, but still actually 1 lap behind now.
Yeah, you can just see what we've been talking about, obviously just going over the Porsche dipper there, just moving around, and it's just the rear it seems to be steering from a wee bit, doesn't it? So I guess we talked about earlier, the team have decided you're better off to lose a couple of seconds a lap and just keep going rather than coming in, trying to fix it and losing 2 or 3 minutes. So it's either a slow death or a sudden change, but it's a very difficult decision to make.
Or just work it out. So that's bad news for them, good news for these guys. Andrew Fawcett and Sam Fillmore doing a great job with their endurance racing, and they've been smooth and fast and very consistent and maintain their lap speeds around about that 104, 103 mark, and currently 156 laps, 3 laps down on the leader, but on target for 2nd place.
Just over 2 minutes to go now, so it'll be next time around, or probably the second time after that, we'll see the last lap board for these guys. So, oh, look at that, the inner liner looks like it just came out from a little BRZ there and flicked it onto the track. Hopefully that won't mean the race is going to end under a yellow. We'll have to see what happened there. You'll see it lying on the track next time we come past the start-finish line. Still the Audi's just trucking on that naturally aspirated car. Just think about that, it's under a little bit less stress than all the turbo ones, even though it's a bigger engine, big solid V10, fantastic road cars these make. Big torquey engine, mid-engine, fabulous cars. There's the McLaren again coming around. If we follow him around, we might see that big piece of plastic lying on the front straight.
Great effort by this team. Maury, the engineer, the man behind the old motors. Glenn Smith, man behind the money. Chris Vanderdrift, man behind the wheel.
Yeah.
What a team, and a beautiful McLaren, and a double for the team after John DeVeth took out the 1-hour race. Now Chris Vanderdrift and Glenn Smith will bring it home for the 3-hour race.
There'll be another lap after this one by the looks of things. It's still not going to quite make it. Last lap board is not out yet, so there'll be another one to go.
But after all of that motor racing, stuck at home, this is great for these drivers. 3 hours of racing, a good hour for possibly for most people, perhaps an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Mix it up, 45, 50 minutes.
Oh, look, it's fantastic. It's so there's the last lap board out now. So these guys cruising home. Really, they can relax now.
Credit to the team, a credit to the effort to get both cars here at the track and get them dialed in, hooked up to go motor racing and to bring it home to the finish. After 3 hours, they look superb, they sound superb, and it's been a superb team effort.
It has, and look at that, not a mark on it. Some more debris lying on the track there. Down the Porsche Dipper for the last time for these guys. Down into the sweeper.
But it's been a good double for the team. DeVeth is still part of that team. And Glenn Smith, of course, Glenn and John teamed up to win the 3 hour last year. Now it's going to be Glenn Smith and Chris Vanderdrift who have teamed up to take it home again this year. And takes the 3 hour race in the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series opening round at Hampton Downs, followed by Andrew Fawcett and Sam Fillmore going to come home in second spot as Aaron Slight flashes past the start-finish line in the Aston Martin. John O'Lester is going to have a great day teaming up with Matt Dovey that brought that car home after all of that hard work. Bernard Varight, he's going to come home with a good performance in that class. Here's number 2, Andrew Fawcett in the beautiful Audi. And of course the Aston Martin, the heart of racing, going to come home in 3rd spot with Alex Rivera and Darren Kelly. So good skills, good racing, hard effort, but that's endurance racing for you.
Yeah, it's a tough run for a lot of those teams, wasn't it? A lot of stuff to deal with, issues. You see the brake caliper issues, all sorts of other things these guys have been dealing with.
So it's Glenn Smith and Chris Vanderdrift coming home first, Andrew Fawcett, Sam Fillmore second, and Lance Hughes and Simon Evans. Are you kidding me? Have those brakes finally gone? Not on the last lap.
What a run for these guys. What a shame. After all that effort, they did well to keep getting it back out there, didn't they? But finally, and it's not that far. Well, it's just before so they've got a half a track to go to get home.
So after all of those brake issues, the car's finally broken.
Look at that. There's the trophy.
Dave Dovey getting the teams lined up as 1, 2, 3 coming home. And a great effort by all of the teams in the 1 hour race. Great effort by all the teams in the 3 hour race. We certainly hope you've enjoyed our live stream on Fast Files. Our thanks to everyone involved with the crew, all of our camera crew, our technical guys, DT and sound and vision. It's all about teamwork, and Adam is the man on the moment with Chris Vanderdrift out of the car into the number 1 spot as the winner of the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series 3 hour race. Great teamwork with Glenn Smith. So 2 very happy chappies. So we'll look forward to the action coming up in October. But in the meanwhile, let's wrap up what's happened here at Hampton Downs and your winners of the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series 3 hour showdown.
So here we go, we've got the winners of the first Golden Homes 3 hour endurance series here at Hampton Downs. We'll just get straight into the winning interviews here. So that last part of the race, it went pretty perfectly, right?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I had no idea kind of where we were lapping wise, but we kind of had a good pace there, and yeah, a couple of safety cars, so let the car cool down and then go again.
You'd be pretty happy. I mean, you started first and you finished first.
Yeah, I know. I had a spin on that hairpin early on, and I thought I'd stuffed it all up, but we managed to just keep going, and it actually worked out quite well for us. And as soon as you put the Rockstar in the car, she's woof.
So what does that mean from here for you guys?
It means the car's all mint, so yeah, we can make some plans and decide what we want to do next, and yeah, we'll talk to this fella and see where we go.
Right, so you're going to let on what might be next?
Of course I'm not. I don't know.
So your stint in the race was pretty clean apart from that spin, right?
Yeah, pretty clean other than that spin. At the start there with that little bit of drizzle, it was really slippy. Had a couple of little moments, and but once all the tyres got some heat in them, and it was the car was pretty good.
All right, well I think we've got some cups up here that we're going to hand to you.
All right. Congratulations.
So we'll just go over here to the second place getters who are just standing by. Hey guys, we're just live, so we'll need to grab a couple of words with you. So we got Sam Fillmore and I just lost your name for a second. I'm a bit tired. Andrew Fawcett. Yeah. So guys, pretty good day. I mean, there was a good overtake near the end to take that position.
Oh, it was good fun, eh? It was so much fun. I felt like I could stay out there for another hour. And just a massive thank you to the organisers, and even bigger thank you to Mr. Fawcett here for letting me drive his car. It was an absolute ball and so much fun.
And that first part of the race was pretty tough for you.
Yeah, it was a pretty long stint. I think I did an hour and 45 and nearly speared off in lap 2, I think it was, when it was raining over the back of the circuit. It caught a few people out, including myself, but managed to gather it up and get on the black stuff and continue. The next few laps were just feeling it out, but it was raining at the back and dry at the front, so it was very interesting. But anyway, we settled down and eventually got a head around it, put in some good laps, and yeah, pleased with the result.
And so, what's next for you guys?
Look, we're planning on Rivera in a couple of weeks, and then probably we'll do the Pokakoe round, which we've always enjoyed that circuit. I think the organisers have done the right thing, taking the chicane out of the back straight. So it's going to love these cars. It's a fast, long straight, and looking forward to that.
Great, all right. Well, we've got some trophies here for you guys.
Congratulations. Unfortunately, can't drink out of it. I'll look forward to seeing you in Pokakoe. Congratulations, guys. Cheers,
Well, it looks like we're looking for our third place getters, but it looks like they've left. So we'll see if we can see them. Hold on, we'll just wait there, Joe, and I'll see if we can get the interview with Alex and Darren. Hey guys, can we get a final interview for the live stream? Okay, they're coming out. So yeah, we really need to thank our sponsors for making this happen. Futura Trailers, Golden Homes, and you can see all of those names have been scrolling across the screen all day long. And a real big thanks to everybody that was on the team today, because it was a pretty massive effort. We've been going since very early this morning to get this all those cameras out and this live stream up, so everyone's done an amazing job. Clint Brown and Stu Isles in the commentary team as well. We need to say thanks to those guys. We've got Darren Kelly here, which we'll just have a quick word with him while Alex is Alex doing his makeup?
Yeah, he's just touching up, but no, he'll be out in 2 seconds. He shouldn't be far away.
So, I mean, the end of the race was a bit of a tough one for you guys, yeah?
Yeah. Alex done an amazing job trying to claw back some of the gap, but yeah, just few troubles, but we'll work through everything and see where we're at next time. So was there issues with the car, or is there anything you can let us know that what was going on? I'm not sure yet. We're still got it's been out on track the whole time. They're going to obviously have a good close look over everything and check all the data and see if there's anything playing up. But yeah, we'll see where it's at.
So I mean, you guys have got a pretty massive season of endurance racing. Tell us what's up next.
Yeah, so we've committed to doing both the South Island and the North Island Enduro Series. So the turnaround between last weekend and this one's been extremely tight. And then we've got 1 weekend off in between, and we'll be back in the South Island for the Ruapuna for the South Island Enduro. So it's quick turnaround, but yeah, lots of fun. We're having an awesome time, and Alex has done an amazing job, and yeah, it's been awesome.
So you freshened up?
Yes. Sorry, I had to visit the toilet real quick. Pretty. I have to say, a bit disappointing. If you realize that we were lapping this car in the beginning of the race, the winner, and then we encountered a mechanical issue. We are still unsure what it is, so we will analyze with the boys, and we will come back stronger for sure.
All right, thank you very much. Well, thanks everybody for watching. That's a wrap now for. We'll get the trophies out first. Sorry about that.
And you got actually got right. So there you go. Just because we do a lot here, you got one hand each. Oh yeah. So we're showing you them mine.
All right. Well, that's. All right, thanks everybody. That's a wrap from Hampton Downs. It's been a wonderful day here, and as I was saying, thanks to all of the sponsors, And thanks to everybody that watched it, that made it such a successful day. And we'll be back. We're going to be live streaming the Pukekohe round of the North Island, the Golden Homes North Island Endurance Series, coming up for you in the near future. So thank you and good night, or good afternoon. Yeah, tell it, John.